What's up, everybody? I'm Matt Leinart, 2004 Heisman Trophy winner, and you're watching the Harris Highlight Show.
Na 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 na.
Coming to you live from the Bill Austin Radio Studio at the Walter Cronkite School of Journalism in beautiful downtown Phoenix. This, according to my notes, is episode 16 of season 4 of the Harris Highlight Show. Joining me this week is our not sick, but
so incredibly tired.
Very tired. Very tired. We go to Arizona State. Last night was Saturday night, so
It's
you
Saturday
can.
night. I'm actually just exhausted.
Josh has had a very busy week of doing college hockey prep, just working his tail off, and he's just very sleepy, but he made it into studio.
Committed.
Our executive producer, Brady Klein.
Hey, what's up, guys?
I was going to say we should have had just like one camera shot. Lyle Goldstein with just an empty seat.
Cut to the camera shot from
And I
Lyle's
am
Halloween costume.
your host for the evening, Blake Harris. Actually, no, the afternoon. Because it is afternoon as we're recording this. Yeah, we mentioned this in last week's show, but for our arguably most important show of the year, probably the biggest show of the college football season, Lyle Goldstein is not here because he is in San Diego attending the baseball winter meetings.
Oh my goodness!
You know, I see where your guys' commitment is. I mean, BK had to cancel his flight to go home because he wanted to be here. Josh had to turn down a job opportunity of a lifetime to be here. Me, I just am choosing this over watching football today, but hey, I'm still here. It's the three of us. We have a very fun show. Now, guys, they haven't even done any of the other rankings yet. They've only released the top 4 so far today, but I think actually they're going to get to the rest of the top 25 right now because I actually have it. The Rose Bowl, guys, I'm just going to be telling you guys this live right now because we're watching this live. The Rose Bowl is going to be Oregon and Wisconsin. That's going to be a good game.
It'll be fun.
Yeah, I'm really intrigued to see where Utah ends up in all of this because I feel like they still could get an at-large bid to, say, the Cotton Bowl. And if it does, and if they do, that changes the whole bowl landscape for the Pac-12, honestly.
Rematch of the 2012 Rose Bowl.
So Wisconsin has lost the last 3 Rose Bowls they've been in, and Oregon has lost 4 of the last 7 Rose Bowls they've been in. So someone's got to win, right? Someone's got to win. So we're going to be getting to all the rankings later in the show, but as we mentioned, they're doing the New Year's 6 Bowls now, so we're just going to be giving our live reaction to those, and then when they're all done, we'll be breaking those down. And then later in the show, we're going to be giving our full bowl pick'ems, where we go over every bowl game and make our picks for all, 40?
I think it's 42.
42 bowl games, so we got a lot of great stuff coming up. So now, for whatever reason, they're spending like 2 minutes on each selection, so hopefully they can speed things up so we can get on. But I'm glad they put Wisconsin in because I guess it's not the runner-up of whoever loses in the Big Ten title game. It's still the Rose Bowl picks like the better Big Ten team they'd like. So I guess Penn State actually could have still been in the Rose Bowl game, but luckily that they went with Wisconsin because I think Oregon-Wisconsin's just a overall much more intriguing and better matchup than had it been Oregon-Penn State.
Yeah, well, you got to think back to the first time we really saw this in recent years with the playoff in effect was 2016, excuse me, with the Rose Bowl. Whoa.
You're excused.
I was getting over a sickness, if you guys remember from the last, an illness from the last show, and then was fine for hockey this weekend, didn't have any issues with the voice, and I feel great. I don't know where that came from. Yeah, I mean, like we saw it in the Rose Bowl a few years ago when Washington won the Pac-12, but lost to USC. It was their only loss of the year, and USC also beat Colorado, and Washington went to the playoffs still. So the Rose Bowl said, sorry, Colorado, we don't want you, and picked USC. So you kind of see that here. I think that Wisconsin-Oregon is the better matchup, honestly. I would not be surprised to see Penn State get an at-large bid. But I think that this is something that we're going to see a lot more of, especially when we have years like we had this year, where a couple weeks into the season, we think, all right, well, there's a lot of really good teams, but like I'm pretty sure we can figure out who the top 4 are. And then all of a sudden, Oregon's back in the conversation. Oklahoma's back in the conversation. These last few weeks, 1 through 9 maybe could have had a chance to get in. So that's why I think we're going to start seeing this a lot whenever there's years where there's a handful of really, really good teams, and you get to see not just the runner-up, but an at-large team from the conference going to what is essentially the tie-in.
And moving on now, we have the Sugar Bowl that is going to be Georgia and Baylor. But going back really quickly to the Rose Bowl, I guess I saw something saying Jonathan Taylor said he plans on playing in the Rose Bowl, so that's good. It'll make that matchup a little better. Now, I guess the good thing about each of these games taking like 2 to 3 minutes, it gives us time to kind of go over each game, preview each game. That way later in the show we don't have to. Then we can just go to the top 4 and then move on to the bowl games.
We were talking about this today, so they gave us the extra time.
How thoughtful for the college football committee and everything. So the Sugar Bowl is going to be Georgia and Baylor. Georgia, I mean, had they won, they would have been in the playoff, but they're in the Sugar Bowl, so they only drop down 1 spot. They go from 4 to 5. Baylor, they're ranked at 7. Baylor's first Sugar Bowl appearance since 1957, and Georgia, this is the 2nd season in a row they're going to be in the Sugar Bowl. This will be a good one. I mean, it'll be a good one.
I just have so many questions about Baylor still, and I
do too.
I feel like I shouldn't, but I do.
Well, you're going to look at it as what are they going to do with their quarterback play now?
Yeah, that's a question too. So they went down to their third. They went down to their third. Yeah. I just don't know because I think Georgia's really good. Obviously, that game yesterday was less than ideal, but it's just. It's tough for Georgia. I still think they're a good team. And Blake was saying he thought they were really good too. I think he sent out a tweet or something. He thought that if they lost in a close game, there was a chance they still got in, right?
Yeah.
And obviously it was not, and we'll talk about that.
It was a blowout. Moving on now, we got the Orange Bowl featuring Florida and Virginia. For Virginia, it's their first New Year's Six bowl appearance in program history. So it's the biggest game of the program's history for Virginia, and they have the privilege of playing the number 9 Florida Gators, who will be making their 4th Orange Bowl appearance, and they've won their first 3.
Second matchup, I'm going to pull my inner bear here and just do some quick matchup rank stats to go along. Second matchup ever between these two schools. First time they met, Florida won in 1959.
How did you have that pulled up?
Blake, you have got no idea, buddy.
I don't.
No.
So this will be exciting to see. Virginia, as expected, got kind of clapped by Clemson yesterday. They looked.
There were some moments in that game where on offense, not on defense. Not even one time on defense.
They looked promising, but
on offense, there were times when they looked good.
That's all you can ask for against Clemson. You can look good. So this would be a good game for Virginia. They get a good matchup against Florida. Florida kind of under the radar this season. They finished the year at ranked number 9. Only had I think 2 losses on the year. So it's going to be a very interesting matchup. Bryce Perkins going for the Cavs in the Orange Bowl. But this is going to be one of those games where Virginia, it's going to be the biggest game in the program's history. They're going to be playing for everything. Florida. I mean, again, they've been in the Orange Bowl before, kind of had a disappointing season, not making the SEC title game. Virginia, they're literally going to come out probably just swords drawn, ready to battle. So this is going to be an exciting game. I always like whenever we have teams that are making like their first big bowl game appearance, and I'm sure it's probably going to be about 70% Florida fans there, considering they don't have to go far for this game.
I would say even more than that.
I'd expect Virginia fans to travel well for this game because this will be something cool. But overall, this will be a very fun and interesting matchup, especially one that hasn't been seen since 1957.
1959.
Oh, 59.
Yeah.
So there you go.
55-10 was the score of that game to Florida.
I really wish they would bring back the old Orange Bowl logo where it had like the actual orange with the face on it. Mm-hmm. Now it's just this kind of...
It's too much like Clemson.
That's what I was thinking.
Bring back that ZZ Top halftime show they did.
Do they still do the thing where they give you the trophy that's full with oranges?
Of course.
I think so, yeah.
All right, now we got the Goodyear Cotton Bowl. This features Memphis and Penn State. Now, for Memphis, just like Virginia, this is their first New Year's Six bowl appearance in program history. For Penn State, this is their first Cotton Bowl appearance since 1975. That seems kind of a bit of a surprise a little. It's their first time being in the Cotton Bowl since 75. But another one like Memphis, they finished the season with 1 loss. They had a really, really good season. And I think this is a game where Memphis, I think they could get the win over Penn State. Maybe by like double digits. I mean, Memphis has looked really good this year. And again, this is going to be one of those things where this is their first New Year's Six bowl game in program history. And they're going to come out shooting. They're going to want to win this.
It is really tough. So first of all, obviously they're losing Mike Norvell, which is huge for them. Great for him. Congrats to Coach Norvell. And it's a good job. We'll see what he can do with Florida State. It is really hard to beat a team twice in a season. It is really hard, really hard to beat a team twice in a season in back-to-back weeks. And that's what Memphis just did with a very good Cincinnati team. They're going to bring it to Penn State. This is going to be a good game. But you know what this means? This means that most likely Utah did not get a New Year's Six bowl game a day after they were playing for a playoff spot.
Which is incredible.
So that's going to shake up the rest of the bowl games in the Pac-12 for sure.
Sun Bowl bound, baby.
First time these two teams have ever matched up, have ever met each other.
I like it. We don't know how BK's getting these stats, but we like it. We like it. So this will be fun. Now the question is, I mean, I don't know if they've announced this, but is Mike Norvell still allowed to technically coach this game, or is he technically...
He's allowed.
So he's allowed. So I assume he will be, which even then means if he's coaching this game, these players are going to be giving their all for him, so that'll be exciting to see.
Well, didn't Lane Kiffin take the Ole Miss job and then coach yesterday?
I think he did.
It wasn't officially announced until after their game ended yesterday. But I think it was a couple years ago, Scott Frost did it at UCF.
It was mid-game, though. They announced it mid-game, didn't they?
It was something like that.
Which one? The Scott Frost or
yes.
I'm not sure.
I thought they announced it mid-game, and everyone was like, what the heck?
I'm not sure.
It was like an Andrew Luck situation.
Yeah.
Oh, sorry.
Thanks, bud. Thanks.
Right.
Thanks.
So, I mean, how many... So they just did the Cotton Bowl, they did the Orange Bowl, they did...
Sugar Bowl.
The Sugar Bowl. Then there's the two... Or actually,
Rose Bowl.
The Rose Bowl, so that's 4. So they technically have 2 games left to get to? Or are those technically the playoff games, the New Year's Six ones, even though those aren't technically
New Year's games.
Dumb, but yes.
So if that's the case, then yeah, so
that's
Utah...
That's all of them. Utah did not get one.
officially left out.
So where does that throw, and if we're talking about hypotheticals, which is Blake's favorite thing to do on the show.
I love hypothetical scenarios.
Where does that make Utah fall?
Well, that puts them in the...
it puts them in the Alamo Bowl, I think. I think that puts Utah in the Alamo Bowl. It means USC goes to the Holiday Bowl, I would assume.
Yes.
And ASU probably goes to the Sun Bowl.
Yeah. Which... Okay, Blake. Sounds good. So I wonder if they're going to be getting to their rankings right now. This is like how they do the show, how they're just seeing this for the first time. We're doing this for the first time, and they are doing the rankings, guys.
Yep.
So here we go. So finishing the year, nothing really surprising here. I think these essentially stayed the exact same because most of these teams didn't even play. So it's kind of tough to move up or down if you don't play.
Virginia might have been 23 last week. I don't remember.
So they dropped down 1 spot. Cincinnati, they end up going to 21. So it'll be interesting to see, though, I guess, for the next slate is how close was Boise State to getting that bid, or actually maybe Appalachian State as well. How close were they to Memphis to getting that New Year's Six bid? I mean, obviously Memphis was the right choice, but is it going to be like Memphis was at 17, Boise State was at 18? So when they do this next one, that'll be interesting to see. But Boise State got kind of screwed there playing Hawaii in their conference title game because Memphis got it easy. And I think if Cincinnati would have beaten Memphis, it would have been that situation right there.
Virginia was 23 last week.
Okay. So Boise State comes in at 19. Appalachian State comes in at 20. Memphis, they finish the year at 17. So do you guys like that where they take the highest ranked non-Power 5 team, they automatically get it? Or do you think it should be like, okay, they were ranked, because let's just say, Boise State was ranked like 15th, but they would have beaten Hawaii, and they would have won their title game. But it's like, you obviously can't really have Memphis leap, let's say they have them leap 4 or 5 spots to make them ranked higher than Boise State. Do you like that?
So
or do you think it should just be overall who they think is the better
I think
one?
I think that the playoff committee plans for this Alabama at 13 is incredible.
Oh, I guess you're ahead of me.
Sorry. But I guess we'll get to this ranking in a minute. I think that the playoff committee plans for it. Which is why I think they've kind of had Boise not falling, but slipping kind of behind Memphis in their recent rankings. Because if this was the AP poll and you had Boise State at 15th with 1 loss and you had Memphis with 1 loss at 17th and Memphis goes to the bowl game, people would be really upset. But the way that I think the College Football Playoff Committee kind of plans it is they can kind of foreshadow a little bit at least what they're thinking if they think that certain teams are going to win. So I like what they did.
Utah was right on that fringe of the New Year's Six games, finishing at 11.
Yeah. Alabama
Alabama at 13.
10-2 and 13 behind Auburn.
How about that?
Incredible.
Alabama finishing the season at 13.
Incredible.
One spot.
Not going to a New Year's Six.
One spot ahead of Michigan. So as much grief as Michigan got this year, they finished one spot behind Bama. Yeah, Utah, they come in at 11. And the most... I mean, we'll get to some of the bowl recaps in a bit.
Could you see Saban being so pissed off that he doesn't accept a bowl game bid and says, stay at home, you don't deserve this?
We refuse our bowl bid.
No, that would be an embarrassment. But
so how about that?
Yeah, no, I could.
So Utah, they dropped 6.
By the way,
6 spots.
This is Alabama's...
Or 5 spots. I can't do math.
When they were ranked at the
spots.
end of the season. So there were times when they were unranked at the end of the year. Last time they were unranked at the end of a season was 2006. But going back to when they were ranked at the end of the season, this is their lowest since 1995.
Wow.
When they were ranked 21st to end the year.
Who was this against? Sorry.
Alabama.
Wow.
When they were ranked to end the year. The last time they were not ranked to end the season was 2007.
Yeah, so fire Saban. Load up the fire Saban rumors. So interesting. Notre Dame comes in at 15. I mean, nothing really else here. I mean, we pretty much know what the top 10 is going to be. We kind of saw them with the rankings right there. So do you guys want to kind of get into the top 4 right now and just go over those?
Yeah,
sure.
Yeah.
All right, so, I mean, the top 4, I mean, we ended up getting no chaos at all. I mean, 2 weeks ago, this was set up where there was literally like 7 or 8 teams that could have been in the Final Four, and we're thinking, man, Paula's going to have a lot of tough decisions coming up. She said she wanted there to be a lot of tough decisions. She said there wanted to be chaos. Well, unfortunately, we essentially got nothing. The playoff committee had a very easy job today. The only question, I guess, was whether they'd have Ohio State, LSU at 1 or 2. They ended up putting LSU at 1, Ohio State at 2, Clemson at 3, Oklahoma at 4. So their job ended up being super easy. Let's go with the first one, guys. Do you like them re-switching LSU and Ohio State, putting LSU back in 1 and having Ohio State at 2?
Absolutely. Lyle has been on the Ohio State's the best team in the country train all season long. And I don't disagree with him at all. I really don't. Like, I agree with him. I've thought for most of this season, obviously, it was between LSU and Ohio State. And it was a toss-up. But when Ohio State did jump to the number 1 spot, I was a little skeptical because I've said this before, I don't think a team should be punished, I guess, for winning impressively, and that's what LSU did that week, and a team shouldn't drop for not playing, for example, unless the team that's right behind them had this huge win. And that week Ohio State had a good win, but it was Maryland? It was a huge win over Maryland. This last week showed me everything I need to know about LSU. I agree with Blake. I think Georgia is so good. And we can just see, they just finished, 5th?
5th, and then Oregon finished at 6th.
5th in the nation? I think that LSU is a wagon. They're a wagon.
What a word, Josh. What a word.
I've been big on that word.
You're a big fan of the wagon?
Yeah, I really wanted ASU hockey to win yesterday and sweep number 4 Denver. They didn't. They tied. But they still won the series with a win and a tie. No losses. I wanted to tweet, at Sun Devil hockey is an absolute wagon. I didn't get to do that.
Yeah, I was with you for a little bit.
Denver scored with 40 seconds left in the game. Anyway.
I was with you yesterday, and you said something wagon, and I stopped. And I said, did you just say the word wagon? And you did.
Oh, yeah. Brady was shooting a high school football game yesterday, and I just went, wow, that wide receiver number 11 is an absolute wagon.
Gosh.
I was like, I've never heard somebody be described as a
wagon. I don't know. I saw somebody say that on social media lately, and I was like, dude, that's it. That's it.
That's going to take off, and all of our viewers are going to be saying, yeah, that's a wagon. I like the wagon.
Josh's fantasy team this year was ...
a wagon.
A wagon.
And Brady's was a joke. But so back to the question that was proposed a minute ago.
What was the question? I don't even remember.
Should LSU, Ohio State number 1, number 2? I think the one thing where I question where they got number 1 right or wrong was, you look at the last 3 weeks for Ohio State, top 10 team, a top 10 team, a top 10 team. They've played against 3 top 10 teams the last 3 weeks, and they've beaten all of them fairly easily. So that's the one thing where I'm like, all right, when the committee meets, they look at everything. They look at how they played in the beginning of the year, all right, there's some mix-ups at the beginning of the year, but how you finish a season is a major part of what's going on. Ohio State had three top 10 victories in the last 3 weeks. That is one of the big reasons why I thought they should have been number one, but no disrespect to LSU at all, because it's quite literally a coin toss for who you can put there. So I see no problem with LSU being at 1, but I think the big thing that we could have seen Ohio State being 1 for is how they finished the season, how they closed out the year with 3 top 10 victories.
Yeah, I think what it ended up coming down to was the fact that LSU wagoned the Georgia Bulldogs. I mean, they...
No. They were a wagon against the Georgia.
So that's how you said they were a wagon against them.
And I mean, if you want to make wagoned like a verb, we can.
Would that be an
adverb? We'll see. So they were a wagon against Georgia. I mean, they absolutely manhandled them. I know. I thought Georgia was going to win. We all thought it'd be close, and this was... They were up by like 30, I think, at one point.
Yeah, I think it is worth. I think it's worth pointing out, though. I mean, this is no excuse. It's worth pointing out that Georgia was a little shorthanded offensively, but I mean, I don't think that really comes into effect when they just get manhandled.
And then Ohio State, they were trailing for more than half of the game. I saw some like stat right. I don't have it like exact, but I think it was like Ohio State coming into this game had trailed for like 9 minutes all season, and like at that point they'd already trailed for 27 minutes of the game. So I think that kind of went into being the difference maker. You got Clemson at 3. I mean, they were a wagon against Virginia yesterday. So Clemson, they're still undefeated. No one's kind of really talking about them. Oklahoma, they come in at 4. So some matchups, guys. I guess we can start with LSU, Oklahoma. I believe LSU is opening up as a 10-point favorite against the Sooners. There is going to be a lot of points scored in this game. My guess is the over-under might top the high 60s, maybe even crack 70. This is going to be a fun one. Now, obviously, we talked about how Oklahoma might have the edge over a team like Utah, maybe over a team like Baylor, where we know Oklahoma can put up the points to compete against LSU. It just might not will their defense be able to stop LSU. What are you guys looking forward into this game? We're going to have Jalen Hurts going against Joe Burrow, a battle for probably number 1 and number 2 in the Heisman finish. This is going to be, I mean, it seems like every year with the playoff, again, it's always seemed like it's been Alabama, Clemson. Those are going to be kind of the ones we know we're going to meet in the national championship. It might kind of be that as well this year, but it seems like these have been arguably the best round 1 matchups that we've gotten so far in the 5 or 6 years we've been doing the College Football Playoff Committee. Because, again, Joe Burrow versus Jalen Hurts in the first round is an incredible matchup.
Yeah, it is, and I think it's the best matchup we would have gotten. In terms of quarterbacks, I wanted to see Utah get in. I think it would have been huge for the Pac-12, but I don't think they would have. With the way that Oregon was able to score points against that defense yesterday or on Friday, I don't know. I don't think they would have been able to get it done against LSU now. I mean, hindsight's 20/20, but in terms of an offensive battle, LSU Oklahoma is the best possible 1-4 matchup I think we could have seen right now. And I love that it comes down to the two of them. I'm disappointed we don't get to see an Oklahoma-Bama again, because that would have been great for Jalen Hurts. Or, like what Brady kind of said last week, Oklahoma-Bama, and then LSU-Ohio State would be cool for Joe Burrow. I think it's a great matchup, but it also comes down to the fact that let's see what Oklahoma can actually do. We've talked about it this year. The defense is much better than it has been in recent years. It's just so much better than it used to be. And then, of course, the offense is typical Oklahoma offense under Lincoln Riley. But these top 3 teams are by far the best 3 we've seen in the playoff era.
While we're talking through this, I don't know if you guys have scrolled through Brett McMurphy's Twitter at all, but obviously this is his big heyday where he's just breaking every bowl game. So if you want to go through some of those, none of them have been really officially announced, but he's given you all the insight of all of them. But one of the ones that I'm seeing now is Alabama-Michigan in the Citrus Bowl.
Yeah, I could see that.
Yeah.
That'll be good.
He said it should be required that both coaches have to go on the teacup ride at Disney World together.
Oh, my goodness.
Yeah.
I want to see a thing of like Nick Saban on like It's a Small World or like the most just kiddie ride you could possibly imagine. That would be a good game. Now that makes the Holiday Bowl interesting against who SC will play, assuming it'll be SC.
Maybe Iowa.
We'll have to wait and see when those bowl games come out. But yeah, LSU Oklahoma, that's going to be a good one. And then you get Ohio State Clemson, where these are 2 teams they can easily win. the national championship, and one of them's not even going to get to go to the national.
So. The championship itself.
Yes, there.
So one of the big things is you look at this Clemson team, everyone's saying, oh, you don't want to play Clemson. Oh, you don't want to play Clemson. For Clemson, this has got to feel pretty good for you. You open up as a favorite against Ohio State.
Yeah, I forgot to mention, they're a 2-point favorite against Ohio State.
That will change, I'm guessing, when it comes closer to it. But for this, everyone's saying, you don't want to play Clemson. Well, that puts a lot of pressure on you, Clemson. But it also says to Ohio State, we're the number 2 team in the country. This is the number 4 team in the country. We should be favorites. There's no home field advantage. This game's being played in Glendale, Arizona. So does that add any extra motivation to Ohio State, or does that put too much of a cloud over Clemson to maintain the strong credibility that they're being given?
Yeah, I mean, that's going to be interesting, seeing Ohio State and Clemson fans having to travel out to Arizona for that one. But this one, I mean, I figured this would be an even matchup. I was actually shocked that Clemson did get the edge being favored. Maybe it's just because Ohio State did just for a half look kind of shaky against Wisconsin. Justin Fields is kind of banged up. And guys, Trevor Lawrence, over the last 6 or 7 games, they had the stat last night, he's been incredible. He has no interceptions. He has 20 touchdowns. His completion percentage is unreal. Clemson right now, I think they're probably the second best team in the country at the moment. Seeing how LSU's been playing, I don't think anyone's better. But I think Clemson's easily the number 2 team.
Better than Ohio State.
I think right now Clemson is a better team than Ohio State, and I think that's why they're probably favored by 2. But I mean, being favored by 2, it's anything that's under 3 is essentially still a pick 'em. It's just a toss-up. It's just they're giving the gambling edge to Clemson with this one.
It's just a toss-up for me, really, between these 3 teams, and I think Blake's right. And I think, it's obvious, but the reason Clemson's not really being talked about as the number 1 team is because they just don't have the quality wins. But you watch them play, and they're just so fluid offensively. And then, they won 62-17, but there were some offensive drives when Virginia looked good, when Perkins looked good, and when Dubois looked really good. But bottom line, they're just stacked. We just don't know.
Well, let's not forget what happened the last time these two teams played. It was 2016 in the playoff when Clemson routed Ohio State 31-0.
Yeah.
Do we see a repeat of that?
No, not a chance. I think Clemson can win. I think Clemson can win by a touchdown, but it will not be anything like that.
Yeah. I know Lyle's been a huge proponent of this. He's been a huge proponent of the fact that Clemson has kind of been doing what the Golden State Warriors would do, where during the regular season they'd play hard, but they didn't play with 100%. You're in the ACC, you don't really have to. Where we haven't had the chance to see what Clemson can do against some of these good teams, and I'm not going to be shocked honestly if Clemson comes out and they win by 2 touchdowns, if they just absolutely manhandle Ohio State, because again, Ohio State's been playing really well, but the first half yesterday, they looked bad against Wisconsin. Now, they did have a really good second half, but I think Wisconsin kind of just, for the most part, also did choke. They also kind of helped Ohio State get back into the game, where Clemson, they aside from that North Carolina game, the last 5, 6, again, 7 games, Clemson has just been, I don't have what their winning margin has been, but it's had to have been something like 30 to 40 points easily, where they've just been looking like maybe a number 1 team in the country.
So you look at this Ohio State-Wisconsin game from the Big Ten Championship, there was a span where it was a little bit of flutter, and then to start the second half, Ohio State scored, 10, 14 points in 90 seconds?
It was something like that, yeah.
They came out firing. So whatever Ryan Day said at halftime, it obviously worked.
So these are going to be 2 absolutely incredible games. Looking forward to those. We'll get to them later in the show when we get to our pick'ems. But let's go and talk about some of the championship games from this past week, guys. And we need to start with Utah, Oregon. Personally, I am not the least bit surprised that Oregon came out and they established their dominance. But Utah looked absolutely horrible. They, first off, did not look like the number 5 team in the country. They didn't look like they were deserving of being in the Pac-12 title game. Oregon looked like, which is the sad part is, had ASU not beaten Oregon, Oregon probably would have gotten in over Oklahoma. At least I can assume that, because they moved from 13 to 6. They moved up 7 spots, so obviously they were very highly thought of Utah. But Oregon, they win by 22 points. Utah, in the most Pac-12 fashion, yes, literally go. Be careful with that, though, because this song actually gets copyright.
3, 2, 1.
All right, there you go. Perfect. I mean, I had a video of that explaining that's what happened with Utah. But guys, I mean, we could have seen Oregon winning this game, but Utah, who had arguably one of the best defenses in the entire country, they were like number 1 against the rush. They were like number 3 like against the pass. I think it was like yards per game. Utah allowed like 70 rush yards a game, where Oregon had that like in the first quarter.
Yeah, that's what's so crazy about this game, though, because their one loss all season to USC passed their way to a big win. And the reason why they were able to do it was because they ran the seam routes down the sidelines, took advantage of the fact that Utah had good corners, but SC's receivers like Drake London and Mike Pittman and Amon-Ra St. Brown, they're just strong, and Pittman's big. So they took advantage of that, throwing it down the sidelines, and they're just bigger, and they could reach up and make the grabs. Herbert threw for 190 yards.
Yeah.
And they didn't pass the ball. He had 14 completions.
208 yards they relied on, though, from C.J. Verdell. That's not too bad.
I know. C.J. Verdell was okay last year. I mean, Oregon's offense this year, from just top to bottom, like they have far from the best or most dynamic core of wide receivers in the Pac-12 conference. I like genuinely, I think ASU has a better wide receiving core than Oregon does. But with Jawan Johnson and Johnny Johnson, they just have options, and there's so much speed, and obviously there's Herbert. But the fact that that Troy Dye and what's his name, Habibi Likio too got carries, and then obviously Verdell, who rushes for 208 yards on 18 carries, like. They've got 3 good running backs, too. I mean, the offense, when they're clicking, they are so tough to stop. And what they did on the ground against Utah, nobody has done that this season.
I mean, it was remarkable, but I like how you mentioned the fact that literally Utah wins. They're likely potentially in the playoff. Well, it's official now. They're in the Alamo Bowl. So Utah, you go from being 1 win away to being in the playoff against LSU, and now you're going to be in the Alamo. They haven't released who they're playing yet in the Alamo Bowl, but that is incredible. Talk about it, just an absolute gut punch. I mean, that is awful. But, I mean, yeah, it was... No one saw this coming. No one expected them to allow 37 points, and Oregon just did this early on. They were up 20-0 at the half. Then they hit them with the gut punch because Utah actually did come back. I think they were only down 8 points either in the third or fourth quarter. So they were within 1 score, and they had their chance to come back and tie the game with Oregon. They got the job done, and now they have the best bowl bid out of any of the Pac-12 schools. And again, this is the most Pac-12 thing that could have happened. You had a chance for a Pac-12 team to be in the playoff, and it's not like they lost by a field goal. They had their chance. They got embarrassed. They got humiliated, and essentially they kind of, yet again, gave the Pac-12 kind of a little bit of a bad reputation.
Yeah, and obviously, Blake, you were repping Oregon all season, but I obviously we all kind of wanted to see Utah get in, maybe for the Pac-12's sake, but I mean, we did express the concern of them finally playing another good team. Up to this point, their best win was ASU. So there were concerns. Obviously USC turned out to be an okay team by the end of the season, and they lost. And that was the only quality team they'd really played other than a 7-5 ASU team. And sure enough, they play a good Oregon team, and that's it. That one hiccup for Oregon, and now I'm not watching with sound, but it looks like on ESPN they're doing like the top 10 like college football season defining moments. ASU beating the third and 18 82-yard touchdown or 81-yard touchdown pass for Jaden Daniels to Ayuk to essentially put the game away was number 8 on the list as season defining moments on ESPN.
Yeah, I'm watching that right now. Right as well.
Rodrigo.
Oh my gosh! I forgot how bad. I'm sorry. I just saw how bad Rodrigo's was against South Carolina.
Yeah, that was.
Oh my gosh!
That's the amazing thing too. Jake Fromm played awful in that game, but Rodrigo Blankenship missed some crucial field goals and these were in overtime too. Had he just made one, they would have won the game, and this whole upset against South Carolina would have been averted. But yeah, those were bad.
Totally jumping off topic, saw across the bottom ticker, reminded me, Lyle brought this up when the very first playoff ranking was released this year, and it stands true now. The originally ranked number 3 team in the playoff rankings has still never made the playoffs. with Alabama being the first team ranked
here
number
it is,
3
boys.
this year.
We officially have our matchup. Arizona State versus Florida State in the Sun Bowl.
No way.
The reunited
Florida State.
Mike
Norvell. If he,
Yeah.
I don't think.
I don't think that's a thing. But hey, that's a great matchup. ASU versus Florida State. Now, I was saying this as well, where it would have been great to be in like the Holiday Bowl or something like that. I like the Sun Bowl. And
USC Iowa in the Holiday Bowl, by the way.
The reason I like the Sun Bowl so much is the fact that it's broadcasted on CBS, so you get the SEC
Brad
on CBS
Nessler.
crew, which makes it that much better. Because I'd rather have them on the call as opposed to some random, number 9 ranked ESPN broadcasters
Patricio Papadopoulos or whatever.
Some random game. So I think that's great. And the fact that we're getting Florida State.
It's Petros Papadakis.
I know, he's calling the Colts game right now. Is making
Barry's
a joke.
Tickets.
Barry'sTickets.com.
For all those
you
people,
want tickets in LA? You call my guy Barry.
For all those people that live in Los Angeles, they'll get
just
the reference.
so confused.
So that'll
he
be
does radio spots in LA for something
Petros
called
does?
Barry's Tickets. Yes. So Petros, for people that don't know, was a former USC fullback, and he's like a radio host on like Fox Sports Radio in LA. And he does these radio spots for Barry'sTickets.com. Blake, have you ever bought tickets from them?
I have not bought tickets from
I've never once been to their
Barry'sTickets.com.
website or anything.
I don't think anyone has.
No free ads, but we use SeatGeek with the
Promo code
with
Harris
the promo-
Highlights. That still works apparently.
Yeah, apparently it does.
So SeatGeek doesn't know, they don't pay me anymore, but the code still works and they still get profit from
what
it. So
a great
But don't tell
looking
them.
website Barry's Tickets is.
Yes, so Barry'sTickets.com, and he gets on and he comes on and he's like, Barry'sTickets.com. If you want tickets, we got the Kings, we got the Lakers, we got the Clippers. You call my guy Barry. And it's like, okay.
Don't miss out on your favorite concert.
I was just gonna pull it up.
Because you don't have tickets. Let Barry hook you up and get the tickets you want right now by logging on to Barry'sTickets.com. With over 30
love
years of
him.
experience in customer service, Barry has the largest
Petros?
inventory
Yeah.
selection for any event, including concerts, sports, or theater. Pick up the phone right now and give Barry a shout. 877-YO-BARRY. 877-YO-BARRY. Or log on to Barry'sTickets.com. Enjoy your next show and let
It's just
Barry
incredible.
hook it up.
What was that? I have never heard that before.
Barry'sTickets.com.
It sounds like one of those really bad like TV advertisements for like the motorcycle attorneys or something like that, and you're like, dude, who edited this?
Josh, do you have glossoplastophilioma? Call this man at
Yeah,
3-4.
that's what it sounds. Oh, it's just
By the way,
Petros is just the best, and he's good at his job too.
totally unrelated note. The Sun Bowl. Can you guess what the payout for the winning team is?
What?
At least $12.
You're close, Josh. It's $2.1 million.
Not too shabby.
Not too shabby at all, Blake.
All right, so we talked about that one.
There might be more people at the Sun Bowl this year than at every UTEP game combined.
That's
this
true.
year.
So now we talked about Utah. Essentially, with them losing, they lose out on the playoff. Baylor, they kept this thing close. I didn't think this would be much of a game. I thought Oklahoma, they would just come out and they would absolutely just dominate and they'd crush Baylor. Baylor, they hung around after falling behind 10-0. They ended up taking the lead into the half. They end up going into overtime tied at 23. Now, they were on their third string quarterback, so I kind of expected overtime to go like this. Oklahoma, they scored the easy touchdown in like 3 plays. And Baylor, I think they had like negative 10 yards on their overtime drive. So if Baylor would have won this game based on how this finished, Baylor might have been in the playoff, guys. So you have 2 teams. They win, they're in. They lose, they're out. Do you think had Baylor won this game, they would have been deserving of being in the playoff? Because I was still under the impression Baylor was not a top 4 team in the country. I don't think they should have made it. And obviously they don't have to have that discussion anymore. But do you think had Baylor won this game, they would have made it?
Before we get to that, a report released officially by UTEP, their average attendance this year was 10,151 per game.
My goodness. Yeah, I just found an
Which
article
did
that
not
said
meet
UTEP
the NCAA 15,000 minimum required average.
required.
Wait, so what happens if...
So they're getting audited and things like
Are
that.
you serious?
Wow.
That's a thing?
Yep.
Oh my God. That's insane.
That's awful.
Football attendance requirements are audit. Blah, blah, blah. An institution must undertake an annual certified audit verifying its college football attendance, and once every 2 years on a rolling basis, the institution shall receive an average at least 15,000 in actual or paid attendance for all football games. That's an NCAA
That's incredible.
NCAA rule.
That's incredible.
I'm sorry, this was from last season, but still, the 2018-19 season. But still, It can't be much better this year.
Wow.
Incredible.
So how about that? But Baylor, guys, they just miss out. But what a season for them. Because 2 years ago, they obviously went 1-11. They have a chance to win 12 games this year. They're a program on the rise, and again, I don't think anyone had them, slotted in to make the playoff, at least be in, contention to be in the playoff. So an overall incredible season. But yeah, do you guys still think that had Baylor won this game in overtime, they win by 3, they win by a touchdown in overtime, do you think the committee still, they would have been like, you won your conference title game, or would they have gone, I'm trying to think who else they gone with had they not gone with Baylor. Maybe they could have gone with Oregon. I mean, that's the thing. Oregon, they finished at 6. Maybe they would have gone with the Georgia team, but with Georgia losing by 20, that would have made things tough. Would you have put Baylor in? Do you think they would have been one of the top 4 teams in the country had they beaten Oklahoma in this game?
So look, no, I don't. But I would also find it tough
to leave them out.
I would find it tough to leave them out. I don't think they're a top 4 team in the country.
Who is this, Baylor?
Baylor. You really could make an argument to say that maybe Oklahoma's not either. Maybe it's Georgia. I don't know. I think that if Wisconsin had won, they would have been in. They might have figured out a way to get in with 2 losses. Maybe Oregon. Here's the reason why they would have had to put Baylor in if they won that game in overtime. And the reason why is because you can't put Georgia back in considering the way that they just played against LSU, because they would have gotten in at 4 and LSU would have been 1. It would have been the same matchup again, just a few weeks later. Yeah, they would have had a few people back offensively.
See, I think they would have probably, because I was telling Lyle about this.
Put Baylor in?
Well, no, I was going to say in regards to the rematch, I think they would have kept it Ohio State at 1 just because they wouldn't want to have that rematch.
That's also fair, too.
I think they wouldn't have wanted to do that. Because I said the same thing. I said, what if this happens and it's just the exact same game for the playoff? And I was like, I think the committee would be smart. I think they'd switch them. But yeah, I get what you're saying.
Yeah. So that's also something to consider, too. But you know what? I think Baylor does get in if they had won that game. I think Oklahoma's the better team, and I think that Oklahoma matches up better with the other 3 teams. But yeah, Baylor's a good team. Beating them twice, that's a huge, huge 2 wins for Oklahoma because it's strength of schedule. It makes them look good with the eye test, but I just don't think Baylor is a legitimate top 4 team in the country.
They could be very well on their way to being there next year. If next year they can come out and they can win another 10 to 11 games, it's just that they had so many games this year that they won in overtime. They won in double overtime. They won by 3 points. I get that they were up 28-3 against Oklahoma. They then blew that game. They were close in this one. But then again, I guess it's how really good is Oklahoma. We're going to find out when they play LSU. But what a season from Baylor. And I feel like Mark Rule is going to be having a lot of good coaching opportunities coming his way from turning this team around by 10 wins.
I think one of the big things going forward say Baylor would have won, but then you look at the injury side of things. They bumped down to their 3rd string true freshman quarterback who wasn't even listed on the depth chart to start the game.
He had 160 passing yards on his first 2 attempts.
2 attempts. The most first player in Baylor history to have over 2 60-yard passing touchdowns in a game.
Also, real quickly, I said Mark
passing
Rule.
Attempts,
it's
sorry.
Matt Rule.
Matt Rule.
But I said Mark Rule. Apologies, Baylor. You go easy on me.
So yeah, we're just seeing right now real quick that Utah versus Texas in the Alamo Bowl.
The battle of the 2 underwhelming teams.
Air Force, Washington State in the always illustrious Cheez-It Bowl.
How did Texas get into the Alamo Bowl?
That's a good question. Well,
they were 7-5.
Well, people are thinking
there are better teams in the Big 12 to take.
Well, they're probably thinking the Alamo Bowl, man, we're going to get no one from Utah coming to this game because they're all probably going to be upset they're not in a playoff for a better game. We might as well get some attendance. So let's have Texas in the Alamo Bowl.
So wait, where's Baylor at? Where's Baylor? Are they they're in the Cotton Bowl?
Are they? I can't remember.
Was that where they were?
No, I think the Cotton Bowl was Memphis, Penn State.
Yeah,
I think
right.
Baylor was in. Oh boy, this just happened. We honestly
Sugar
can't
Bowl
even
against
remember.
Georgia.
Sugar Bowl. Where's Kansas State? Kansas State could have gone.
Kansas State versus Navy in the Liberty Bowl.
Kansas State should have gone to the Alamo Bowl. That would have been a much better matchup.
USC Iowa to the Holiday Bowl.
Yeah, you guys noticed that we were not getting very many Big 12 and Pac-12 updates very quickly. A lot of them were Big 10. There were a lot of Big 10, SEC, ACC, and then Group of 5 bowl announcements real quickly. So Brett McMurphy is now tweeting all of the Pac-12 ones. So for a while he was not saying anything. And then the first one we saw was Utah to the Alamo Bowl, and then USC, Iowa in the Holiday Bowl, and then we started seeing
Florida State,
Kansas
ASU.
State, Florida State, ASU,
North Carolina,
still a bunch
Temple.
more.
Interesting.
Washington State's out now. Oklahoma State's out now. Yeah, it's interesting. I wonder how that works out. Do they just kind of get all those ones out of the way first?
It seems like they've been going, chunk by chunk, conference by conference.
Yeah, as much as they can.
Yeah.
Oh yeah. So they keep coming out. We'll get to those pick'ems later in the show. But again, yeah, Baylor, they came that close. That would have been interesting to see what would have happened had they won. But nothing really there. And aside from that, I mean, that's really for the most part the only thing we went over. Georgia, LSU, Jake Fromm. Now, let me get up this because I know Lyle wanted me to mention this tweet that he had in regards to Jake Fromm from yesterday. Jake Fromm looked awful. I mean, he looked absolutely awful yesterday. I'm trying to get what his final stat line or stat sheet was. 20 of 42, 225 yards, 1 touchdown, 2 interceptions, a QBR of 32.6. I mean, just opposite. Joe Burrow had 350 yards, 4 touchdowns, no picks. So Jake Fromm was bad. Lyle pretty much looked up all of Jake Fromm's performances in losses. Against Auburn in 2017, 13 of 28, 184 yards and a loss. Versus Bama in the national championship in 2017, 16 of 32, 1 touchdown, 2 picks in the loss. Versus LSU last year, 16 of 34, 1 touchdown, 2 interceptions and a loss. Versus South Carolina in their loss, 28 of 51, 1 touchdown, 3 interceptions. And against LSU, 20 of 42, 1 touchdowns, 2 interceptions. We've talked about it before with Jake Fromm. He's a decent enough quarterback. He'll win you the games you should win. But in his 3 years at Georgia, in all of the biggest games Georgia's played in, they've lost, and he has been awful. Jake Fromm has been awful.
I think he's just bad in losses.
Yeah. I mean, it's like bad though. He's not completing 50% in most of these games. He's throwing a bunch of picks. So Georgia, I mean, hopefully for them next year, if Jake Fromm decides he wants to declare and go to the NFL, that's up to him. But with Georgia, I think that's what's going to be holding them back from winning the national championship is their quarterback play, because obviously their wide receivers are going to be good. Their running back is going to be fantastic. Their defense is going to be top 10, except for yesterday it wasn't. But it's just the play of the quarterback that's been holding them back the last few years. And I think Jake Fromm, I mean, again, you have Justin Fields out there. Who knows what the outcome of this game is? But I think with Justin Fields, they at least would have been more competitive than with Jake Fromm. I get the decision to keep Jake Fromm and go with him, but I think Kirby Smart deciding that that's the quarterback they want out of those three, I think we can officially say it was the wrong decision, because, again, he's been bad in all these games. It hasn't been one or two. It's all of the losses he's been atrocious.
I disagree. I think he's a good quarterback. I mean, he's still thrown for 2,600 yards this year, only 5 interceptions. Yeah, he's been pretty bad in some losses, but, I mean, we saw earlier this year, and Lyle had continued to say, he's the quarterback that's never going to win you a big game. And the Florida game was a big game. That was what put him in the playoff conversation, I think. So, yeah, he was really bad yesterday. He's been pretty bad in some losses, but that's kind of how these games go. If your team's going to lose, not often are you going to pull a Baker Mayfield and put up 1,000 passing yards in a game and lose. This isn't the Big 12. So you're absolutely right. I'm not trying to make the case by saying, oh, well, it's okay to play like crap if you lose. Like, that's not what I'm saying at all. I just want to make that clear. Yeah. But, like, odds are, I mean, this is the SEC we're talking about. These are good defenses we're talking about. And obviously, if he's playing against a good defense and he's not having a great day and the team's losing and falling behind against a good team, he's not going to have a great stat line. So I guess I kind of give him the benefit of the doubt, but I think he's a good quarterback, and he's had a great career too. And obviously, when he stepped in a few years ago when Eason got hurt, he really took over the quarterback job. I mean, he's thrown for 8,000 yards in his career. 18 interceptions in 3 years. That's pretty good. And he still has a lot of pass attempts too. So it's not like he just doesn't throw passes.
Oh, yeah, I mean, he's a good quarterback. I mean, he might has a chance to be decent in the NFL. It's just the fact that in all the biggest games he hasn't shown up. Like, do you think if Justin Fields was out there yesterday, it would have been a closer game had he been on Georgia?
I don't know, because I hate trying to like figure that out, especially when I'm not at practice. I was talking with a USC fan the other day, and he was saying that Helton 3 years in a row, he picked the wrong quarterback. First, he started Brown over Darnold, and then he started JT Daniels over Jack Sears, and then this year he started JT Daniels over Keaton Slovis. I'm like, whoa. First of all, Max Brown was the number 1 quarterback in the country, and Sam Darnold was a redshirt freshman who had never played at SC before. So yeah, you decided to take a chance with Sam Darnold, and he turned out to be incredible. That pays off for you. SC fans saying that Jack Sears should have been the quarterback. Dude played a game and got hurt. Dude played a game. What do you mean he should have been the quarterback 2 years in a row? And then this year, JT Daniels was the quarterback last year. What do you mean Keaton Slovis should have been the go-to guy this year? What are you talking about? You can't pick a quarterback if you've never been out at practice. I just hate that. You can't make that argument. And the way that I look at it is, I admit, I'm on your guys' side with this. I think Justin Fields is a better quarterback than Jake Fromm. I think Jake Fromm's better than Jacob Eason, but I think that Justin Fields is better than Jake Fromm. But he's also in a different system. He's also in a different offense, different plays, different schemes. Everything's different at Ohio State with their offense. And at Georgia, it was more of a run-first team. I think that's pretty clear. And on a run-first team, or at least what it seems to be a run-first offense, Jake Fromm in his career has still thrown for 76 touchdowns and only 18 picks. And he's never thrown more than 7 interceptions in a season. He's thrown for over 2,600 yards all 3 years. He's not putting up 3,000-yard seasons, but that's just not the quarterback he is. So I am totally against going out and saying somebody should have had the job or this guy would have been better. Like the whole Tua thing from a few years ago. The argument that Blake had was not he should have been the starting quarterback from the beginning. It was that I think he should be the starting quarterback next year, which is a fine argument. And it turned out to be right. But it didn't seem like anybody was talking about the whole, Tua should have been the starting quarterback in the first place over Jalen Hurts because clearly Tua's that much better. But that's because it was Alabama and they were winning all the big games. So the conversation was he should be the starting quarterback next year, at least be up for, it should be up for debate. That was the argument then. Now it's Justin Fields should have been the starting quarterback at Georgia, and it's just because they haven't won a national championship when Alabama did. That's the difference in the two arguments.
Yeah, I can back you up and agree on that. So again, it'll be interesting to see if Jake Fromm decides to come back for one more year. I know he's draft eligible now. I'm trying to see what it is BK sent to our chat.
It was an ASU football player responding to the announcement, not an official announcement, but somebody announcing the bowl game, and he said, "But why?" So
because you guys only had 7 wins.
He's not happy where they're going.
I mean, again, to be fair,
he's also always hurt, so he can't say anything.
To be fair, I'd rather be in the Sun Bowl as opposed to the Cheez-It Bowl, the Red Box Bowl. I mean, the Sun Bowl is not an awful one. It's not an awful bowl game. I mean, you're playing a team like Florida State. I mean, no disrespect to Captain Raw, but I think if you're a player, you should be way more hyped that you're playing Florida State as opposed to Wake Forest or playing some of those other ACC potential teams. I think Florida State's a great matchup, regardless if it's in the Sun Bowl, and I think that's a great thing for ASU. Not exactly sure what everyone's doing in there with the interns, but everyone's looking at a phone screen. I think they're taking a selfie. Oh, they're watching the Colts game. So that'll be interesting to see now.
Our kicker missed a field goal.
And it's not Vinatieri, right? He's out.
It's Chase McLaughlin.
47-yarder
off the post.
Toledo is the only bowl-eligible team that did not receive a bowl bid this year, guys.
Really?
Is the only what?
The only bowl-eligible team that did not receive a bowl bid.
Wow.
Washington, Boise State in the Las Vegas Bowl.
That'll be good.
Chris Peterson faces his old team.
So there's still...
Wait, who was it? Washington, Boise?
Yeah.
Oh, I love it.
That's a good game. So
that's great.
So there's
San
still,
Diego
I guess...
State, Central Michigan.
So they're still coming
Mexico.
out with these bowl games. Now, I guess they're still going with Brett McMurphy. He's still tweeting all of them out. I don't know how many more of them there are that have to go. So do you guys want to start getting into our bowl pick'ems right now, even if they're not done? Or do you want to maybe wait another 5 minutes until they should be done? Maybe I would assume by 2 they'll be done. According to the ESPN website, you can't go into the Bowl Mania Pick'ems League, which I'm going to promote in about a minute, and you can't make the picks until I guess 4 or 5 o'clock our time. So how do you guys want to go about that? Do you want to start making the picks now, since it's probably going to take 30, 45 minutes to go through them all?
How are we going to just go through each tweet? What are we going to do?
We'll just go through each tweet, then we can obviously save.
There are a couple that haven't. So like Miami of Ohio hasn't been announced for a bowl game.
So we can pretty much like start from his oldest one, and we can cut out the New Year's Six ones, save those for the end, save the playoff ones for the end, and then we can just go from there. Now I don't think these are necessarily going to be in order, but that's fine. They don't really have to be in order. Like I said, by the time
they're not officially official, so 99.9% sure, but still.
I think for the most part they are. So now before we get to those, actually we have a few bits of news to get to, guys. We have, I was going to say this at the beginning of the show, but I got sidetracked. It's really unfortunate.
What? Hang on.
Sidetracked.
Not sidetracked.
Oh, I got sidetracked?
You got distracted or sidetracked.
All right, I got sidetracked.
You don't get sidetracked.
All right, sidetracked. Anyway, guys, it's a shame Lyle's not here today, because we're going to be giving out Manscaped packages for everyone in studio today.
Yeah.
Wait.
Hey guys, thank you. We love you, man. Go Tigers.
I'm kidding, guys. I'm kidding.
Oh, you.
Yes.
Oh, okay. I'm sorry. Before we move on,
Josh, this is our show now. Blake, your mic's been killed.
can we? No, you're gonna want to turn Blake's mic back on.
Oh boy.
Can we talk about the fact that our sports director at KASC Blaze Radio, Scotty Gange, the main man Scott, we mentioned that I was like, oh, you're not gonna believe Manscaped is a sponsor for Blake's channel, and he's like, oh, no way, really? I've got the Lawnmower 2.0. I love Manscaped. He is like a huge Manscaped fan and was like all in on the Lawnmower 2.0. A proud sponsor of the Harris Highlight Show. I'm not doing that read when I host it.
Oh, I know.
Oh, intern's got
Even
one.
Intern's got one.
Intern Mason Klein has a Lawnmower 2.0.
They're fantastic. They come with several guides, a charger, a little carrying pouch as well. Very nice.
Do you have a crop preserver and everything?
I do not. I wish I did. If Blake Harris would maybe want to hit me up with that.
When I host this show,
on the totem pole,
when I host this show, I'm not doing a live read for Manscaped.
Josh, can we get our own sponsor for when you host the show? Like.
Oh yeah.
Sponsored by Fuzzy's Tacos.
What about the Mexican restaurant in Arroyo Seco?
Mijares Mexican Restaurant for the best Mexican food in the city of Roses.
What about
Hit up
Barry's
845
tickets?
Palmetto
Barry's
Drive.
tickets.
Yeah. No free ads.
All right, so guys, we
don't go there. It's not good.
I did find a Sports Illustrated article that pretty much has most of the matchups already set. There's like a few that haven't been updated yet. So for the most part, these are all good to go. So I feel like in 5 to 10 minutes we can start that. But let's get things underway first with our Manscaped.com giveaway. Sorry, I have like a huge burp coming. Brady, if you want to like mute my mic real quick. Oh. Well, did you not mute it? Did I just come in on Josh's?
No, I didn't mute it.
Oh, sorry,
dude.
guys.
If that came in on my mic, that was the loudest burp ever.
He didn't open his mouth though. It could have been a lot better, Blake.
Oh, I know. I didn't open. I was trying to keep it silent.
That was so gross.
In our last show, we talked about a Manscaped giveaway. We had a pin tweet where we're going to give away I believe it's a perfect package 2.0 plus a swag bag right there, and then we had it where if you first of all, you got to follow us, follow Manscaped, and it was like if you like the tweet, it's an entry. If you retweet it, it's 2 entries. If you reply to it, it's 5 entries. So we had a bunch of entries going on. I think for total we had it was like 30 likes. I think we had like 15 retweets. We had about 15 people reply. So there was a bunch of entries that went into it. Yes, Brady?
I will say this, Josh. I was talking with our good pal Emma the other day, and she said, oh, I saw you guys were doing a giveaway on the show, and I saw your Twitter account, and then I looked at what it was and said, oh, not a chance. So Emma's not going to win.
Unfortunately, Emma's not going to win. Unfortunately, our intern Mason will not be able to win either because
he bought his own.
Because he has his own, and he's an intern for the show. So guys, can I get a little drum roll, please?
I'll let Brady
Give me
use
a
the
second.
soundboard.
All right, Brady, you can get a drum roll. I'm still refreshing this bowl thing right here, so we'll have to wait and see what happens. Oh, fantastic! And the winner of the Perfect Package 2.0 bag with a swag bag is Gant Darden.
Yes! Yes!
Yes!
Yes! I have been rooting for Gant since day one. Yes, man!
Yeah, so
that's what I'm talking about.
So shout out right there to Gant Darden. I like it. So
yes!
I'll send you a DM. We'll get your shipping info. And
yes!
I'll pass that along to Manscaped, and hopefully they can get that out before Christmas comes. That way, either you can use it, you can get it as a gift. So I'll be in those DMs, Gant. So congratulations! Shout out to everyone else that won. We had someone reply saying she wants to win so she can give it to her husband. And Manscaped actually liked the tweet. And someone replied saying "Yikes." So there you go. So shout out Gant. Ready to go now, guys. Let's talk about some pick'ems real quick. And Josh has left the studio. Josh has officially left the studio. Man, I'm on ESPN right now. The Saints are losing 42-40. Yes! That is unbelievable. So we have the final results for our college pick'ems. Yes! That is fantastic. We have the final results for our college pick'ems. Coming in first place in our ESPN College Pick'ems League is Blake Walker with 116 points.
Wait, who?
Blake Walker.
My mic's off. Who won?
Blake Walker.
Yes! Yes!
So Blake Walker, you won with 116 points. Congratulations. You win pride. You don't win a Manscaped package, but you win pride.
Yes, Blake.
Thank you. I'm right here.
Not you.
All right, now guys, as we say our pick'em winners, it's time to go to our pick'em winners, or pick'em winner from the four of us. So without further ado, shall we get to the final results?
No.
Well, Brady, get the sound effects and music ready.
We're getting there.
In fourth place with 129 points.
Please be Lyle, please be Lyle, please be Lyle, please be Lyle.
Is Lyle Goldstein.
No way! Yes!
In third place with 133 points is Blake Harris.
Oh. Blake, be quiet.
In second place.
Hang on, Blake. Hang on.
Oh, he's gonna.
Hang on, I need to. I'm getting it.
Winner's music. Look at me.
I'm not.
I'm Brady. I won.
Hang on, Blake. Here we go. Ready?
Share all of your favorite.
Nope, that's an ad. Hang on.
Oh boy.
Hang on. YouTube, you're killing me. Another ad.
Hey, dude, what are you trying to watch? What are so many ads?
In second place with 136 points is our executive producer, Brady. I am kidding. It is Josh Schaefer that comes in second place, meaning in first place with 143 points, winning his first ever pick'ems, and officially making it where all four of us win over the course of 4 years, is our executive producer, Brady Klein. Brady, you got the most games right this year out of all of us.
Yes!
The floor is yours. You came in last place last week with our fantasy league, but you come in first place this week with our bowl pick'ems league. Congratulations.
You know, to quote one of the great historians and one of the greatest athletes of all time.
A historiologist.
Yeah, a historiologist, as you can call him, a mathematician, a mathematist. He said, if thou art not first, thou art last.
Oh, yes.
Yeah, I think that was Shakespeare?
Something like that.
Shakespeare.
Shakespeare was a fraud.
Plato. Plato or Shakespeare?
Yes.
Okay. First place. Hey, I think what's more impressive about me finishing last in the fantasy league and first here is that 4 years, 4 winners, 4 members of the show that matter.
Yeah, we're like the ACC Coastal, baby.
Yeah, baby.
We're the ACC Coastal of college football shows.
What it do, baby?
What it do, baby?
Congratulations, Brady.
Josh, it was
All
a tough fought battle, and Blake tweeted out the video of us the other day making our picks for the Utah game. And in my notes, you can ask our intern Brett. He saw me. In my notes, I originally had Oregon highlighted.
Yeah, that's really cool. I hate you.
Yeah,
so.
and then 100%. You picked Utah.
Yeah.
And so then I was like, well, gotta change it.
I hate Brady, but good for you, dude.
Yes!
Boo. Actually, wait, he won by like 10 points, though,
yeah,
right?
what was the final?
143, so he won by 7. Josh was the closest, 7 behind. So congratulations, Brady. But
hey, big round of applause to all of us, right?
I guess you can keep this music playing because, pretty much according to the Sports Illustrated website, is everything ready to go. The ones that aren't in, I'll slot in Brett McMurphy's tweets. Again, we're just going to hope that his are correct, but We have until, I believe, 3 o'clock, so we got just less than an hour to get through these. I don't think it should take more than 30, 45 minutes. But, guys, I have some exciting news because, yet again, we are participating in the Capital One Bowl Mania Challenge, where you can go over to ESPN.com and enter in the Bowl Mania Challenge, where you can make your picks for all of the, I don't know how many we have, 40, 41 bowl games. There's a ton of bowl games. Now, guys, usually in years past, we only have one league. In our final year, we're going to up things up and have 2 separate leagues. We're going to have one league that is just the straight edition, where you just pick the winner of each game. Simple enough, you go through, pick the winners. We are also, though, going to have a confidence league. Now, for those of you that don't know what the confidence league, you have all the 40, 41 bowl matchups, but you rank them in a matter of confidence points. So let's say I know ASU is going to beat Florida State. You put that at 41, meaning if ASU beats Florida State, you get 41 points. If you don't know how well Clemson's going to do against Ohio State, you think it's going to be a toss-up, you pick Clemson to win, but you put that at 1, meaning you only get 1 point if they win. So, 2 different leagues. You can enter in either one of the leagues. You can enter in both. But I thought this would be a fun way because confidence leagues are kind of fun because that one actually does require some strategy. And that way there's probably not going to be a tie for that one. Whereas the other one, I think we've had ties in years past. So going over to the Capital One Bowl Mania Pick'ems League, go to the groups, type in Harris Highlights. There is a Harris Highlights 2019 group. That is for the straight league. And there is a Harris Highlights Conf. There's a character limit, so it's Harris Highlights Conf, which is the Confidence League. So go over there, join both those. I believe you have until like December 20th to fill all those out. Make sure to join. Will we have a giveaway? We'll have to wait and see. I'm going to have to think if there's anything we want to give away, but follow along with our Twitter. I'll let you know if we give something away. Yeah, maybe we can give away something. Well, if we all chip in, we'll have to wait and see. So you can do that. Make sure you guys join. Unfortunately, Lyle did not text us anything, so he's officially out for the Bowl Pick'ems because he has to do a job hunt for a minor league gig. So, guys, without further ado, should we get this bad boy underway?
Sure.
Oh, yeah.
That would have been the perfect transition into the Bad Boys Motors.
Bad Boy Mowers Gasparilla.
Actually, I don't even know if that's still a...
It is. Yeah, it is.
Oh, it still is? Fantastic. All right, guys, let's get things underway with the first bowl game that happens on Friday, December 20th. The Makers Wanted Bowl.
Where's this? Do you have this article?
So it's a sports.
Can you send it to us real quick?
Why I can't because I have. Just type in like college football bowl matchups and it should be a Sports Illustrated article. Now some of them don't have the matchups yet. There's maybe 5 or 6 that don't, but I think I'll just go to Brett McMurphy's and put those in. But they have most of them. So if you want all of them in the order, going over, and I think Josh is looking for it. He might have just found it right there. It's on SportsIllustrated.com.
26 minutes ago. Yeah.
All right, guys. So we got the first one again. Oh my goodness gracious. Man, he is dying over here. Oh.
Lyle didn't even make me laugh. So
Josh looks quite comfortable for these bowl pickups.
Yeah, I'm just gonna.
Baba's glad, my dude.
What's up, y'all? And
all right, guys, let's get things underway. The Makers Wanted Bowl. Charlotte versus Buffalo.
Charlotte versus Buffalo. So we can go with the 49ers, or we can go with the Buffaloes.
Bulls.
It's fine. I kind of like the rebrand that Buffalo did a couple years ago with the bowl. Them. Brady, I know that Lyle is supposed to be here, but it's your turn.
I didn't realize that was your pick. You're like, I liked the rebrand.
No, I said I liked the bowl, so them. Bum, 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 bum.
What the hell is this show gone to? Let's go Buffalo, because why, Lyle?
Oh.
Oh.
How about we get another Jew to gate for him? Mason, can you please...
You have a microphone in here.
Yeah, you have a microphone literally right there.
Because why, Mason?
Because why not?
I like how he has his own microphone.
There are 3 mics in this studio. Of course he has his own. There are 3 people in here.
Oh, I know, but some of them might not work. I'm going to go with, I'm going to go with... Actually, no. I retract that. I'm going to go with Buffalo in this one. The Frisco Bowl, featuring Utah State and Kent State.
Utah State. What is so funny?
Oh, boy.
Hey, the reason it looks like this is because he just... Never mind. I like Utah State in this one. I think they've got a pretty dynamic offense. We'll see. I mean, not a super strong conference, but I think I've picked the Ags a couple times this year. I'm going to pick the Ags again. Who'd you say they were playing?
Kent
State. The team we saw earlier this year, Josh.
Nah, yeah, not them. I've got Utah State.
You know, I'm really thinking we could go... let's go Utah State. I think they have a better team, and We saw Kent State play already once this year in person against Arizona State. So I think I'm going to go Utah State.
Yeah, I'm going to have to follow suit with you guys. I'm going to go with the Ags in this one. So
Let's go, Ags.
You gotta love the Ags. So now this one, I'm going to have to go and find the matchup for this one. But let's skip one. The New Mexico Bowl featuring San Diego State and Central Michigan.
Oh, this is just so easy. I am going with the San Diego State fighting Brandon Heiklands. They run a fake punt. Brandon tosses a 46-yard game-winning touchdown.
You're having a
as time expires.
Game-winning fake punt.
Off of a punt. San Diego State.
Screw it. Why not? Let's go for San Diego State.
Yeah.
San Diego State.
How can you not go for the Aztecs after that? A fake punt to win a game?
To
win the New Mexico Bowl?
Is he the holder?
30.
Is he the holder also?
Huh?
Is he the holder also?
Yeah.
How about a fake field goal and he scrambles around and does that? Game-winning field goal.
He pulls a Johnny Manziel. Scratch that. He pulls a Keaton Slovis.
Oh.
And jumps back and forth between everybody as a holder on a field goal that would have tied the game and sent it to overtime. And then he's just like, hey, psych, and then rolls out and throws it for a touchdown.
Psych, teammate, you thought.
Yeah. Brandon Heikland and the Aztecs.
I already said San Diego State.
Blake. Oh, yeah, Blake. It's your turn.
Oh, it is? All right. Oh. What are we doing? It's still San Diego State. All right, did I make a pick already?
You said, how could you not pick San Diego State after a punt?
San Diego State. Well, actually, I'm going to go back one because I do have the updated one. The Celebration Bowl. And now I guess this is the one that's always like those... It's like that. This is a weird bowl game where it takes like the FCS teams, like the champions, NC-A&T against Alcorn State.
NC-A&T. NC-A&T kind of sounds like the school from Drumline. Sick movie. You guys should watch Drumline. So I'm gonna pick them. Maybe Nick Cannon comes and drums them all the way to a victory. Love Nick Cannon.
That's a pretty good reference right there. I'm not gonna lie.
Drumline, sick movie. Sick movie.
Watch
Drumline.
It's a great movie.
What?
Ice Age. In that little squirrel that's chasing around the Alcorn the whole time.
Yeah, he's chasing with on that Alcorn.
The Alcorn.
Yeah. That was a good one.
Oh boy.
I'm going Alcorn State.
Alcorn's not a state. I don't even know where Alcorn is, but I like it enough, so I'm going to go with them in that one. The Cure Bowl. All right, the Cure Bowl. Georgia Southern versus Liberty.
Alcorn State University is a public historically black land-grant university in rural, unincorporated Caliborn County, Mississippi.
Just makes my pick that much better.
Unincorporated?
All right, the Cure Bowl.
Sorry, hold on.
Liberty, Georgia Southern.
The Cure Bowl on CBS Sports Network.
2:30 p.m.
Yes, exactly. I don't know what it is. I obviously I really hope Ohio got to a bowl game this year. Didn't really follow them too much, but I always pick Ohio. They did?
They did.
Oh, get ready for that one. I'm picking the Bobcats.
Ohio versus Nevada in the famous Idaho Potato Bowl.
Oh no. Okay, that's gonna be a tough one. We'll get there. I like Georgia Southern for whatever reason. Whenever they're in a bowl game, I just pick them for whatever reason. So I've got Georgia Southern in the Cure Bowl.
What are these teams' records? This is the thing. We don't have records. We don't have anything. So we're just going in this blind, essentially.
Yeah, which is what makes it that much better.
I like this. I'm shooting a basketball game later today that features Liberty. A friend of mine that I made this past summer for my internship went to Liberty. I'm going to go with Liberty because Hugh Freeze coaching in a hospital bed looking quite sickly. Throwback to my poem from last week.
Liberty. I'm going to go with the they're the Flames, right?
Yes.
Isn't that what they are? The Flames, the Liberty Flames. So I'm going to go with the Liberty Flames.
Their mascot is an eagle.
Which I believe Josh has to, without a doubt, announce this next bowl for us.
This next bowl game is the Cheribundi Tart Cherry Boca Raton Bowl between Southern Methodist and the FAU former Fighting Lane Kiffins. 3:30 p.m. on ABC. Check it out. The Cheribundi Tart Cherry Boca Raton Bowl. Blake, do you want to make the pick first?
You know what? I'll make the pick first. A great season from both these teams. SMU, though, they were ranked pretty high at one point a few weeks ago, so I'm going to go with the Mustangs.
I'm going to go with the Mustangs as well. SMU is going to say BYE to FAU.
Yes, and I'm going to make my pick the way that Blake would. Yes, so I am going to go with SMU. Back to Blake.
All right. The Chair Bunny Boca Raton Bowl. What a fantastic bowl. The Camellia Bowl featuring Arkansas State and Florida International.
State, Arkansas State.
One of these. Who did they play? FIU. Okay. I'm gonna go with FIU. What are they? They're the Panthers, right?
Correct.
I'm gonna go with FIU and the Panthers.
Yeah, I'm gonna ride with Florida International as well in this one. The Mitsubishi Motors Las Vegas Bowl.
Great bowl game.
Featuring Washington. Now, Washington and Boise State. Now, next year this starts to get confusing because the Vegas Bowl, for what it is, becomes a new bowl in itself that it's going to be like the Pac-12 versus SEC.
Yes.
Where this Mitsubishi Motors Vegas Bowl, I believe, is moving to LA at the new stadium.
Is it?
So the Mitsubishi Vegas Bowl will still be the Mitsubishi LA Bowl, and the new Vegas Bowl will be a new bowl in itself. It's very confusing.
Well, the new one is going to be at the new Raider Stadium.
Correct.
And which is also where UNLV will play.
Correct.
Which will be very cool for them.
Correct.
So Washington and Boise State. I can make the pick now?
Yes, you
Cool.
can.
Okay. I really like Boise State, and Cole McDonald didn't give him too many fits, I guess. Boise State convincingly winning the Mountain West. Washington's been back and forth for me. I can't figure out if they're good or not. I think they're an okay team. I believe this is Peterson's last game, correct?
It is, yes.
So
against his former team.
Got one more game against his former team. I think it's going to be really cool for him if he gets a win, but I am going to take Boise State to get the dub.
Well, you know the old song, Cole McDonald had a farm, E-I-E-I-O. And on this farm, he had a Bronco, and they're going to beat Washington.
Is that really how it went?
That's how it went, Josh. Blake, look it up.
I'll look up the lyrics right now.
Do it.
Or maybe I can have one of our interns do that. Sorry, I have the Saints game. Oh, and the Saints just took the lead with 1 minute left against the 49ers. Yes.
Yes, go Rams.
Yes. All right, take that, 49ers.
Go Rams.
I'm gonna go with Boise State in this game. Now, again, I don't know if Washington's good or not. I really don't. I have no idea, but I'm going to go with the Bronx, as Josh likes to say.
The Bronx.
In this one, the RL Carriers New Orleans Bowl. New Orleans. You can say it however you like.
New Orleans.
Appalachian State versus UAB. Wasn't this just a matchup this past weekend, but they were two separate conference title games?
I'm gonna keep things simple by saying I'm taking Appalachian State. And I say it like that so that whoever out there that gets mad can just
say App State.
No, Brady. That's taking the easy way out. That's like using impact rather than the correct way to use effect.
Shut up. I do that all the time.
Yeah, I know you do. This is a journalism school, Brady. It's a journalism school. That is weak journalism. Also, though, sometimes I forget, so I use impact too. I'm not going to take the easy way out. I am taking Appalachian State. So, if you're going to get mad, just get mad at both. I don't really care.
Oh, boy.
Ooh. The R&L Carriers New Orleans Bowl. 9 p.m. Eastern on ESPN on December 21st. And I'm going to go with UAB because they didn't even have a football team like 3 years ago.
Yeah.
Yeah, every time I've gone with UAB this year, guys, they've absolutely let me down. Sorry, I'm just trying to have something loaded up right now. They've always let me down. App State, they've been fantastic this year. They easily could have been in the New Year's Six Bowl game, but they weren't. So I'm going to go with App State in this one. I was trying to get something queued up, and here we go. Is he in shot? There we go. We got the Bad Boy Mowers. Gasparilla Bowl. Featuring Marshall and you. See, this would have been great to look up in advance. That we could have had a bunch of sound effects. So BK could have played some lawnmower just starting up sound effect. We could have had a bunch of other ones for. I don't know what else. Oh, what's that? What? You hear something, Josh? Did you hear that?
Hello?
Hey, Blake, while this is loading, just want to let you know so you can hear this now. My camera battery just died, so there's going to be a second clip.
Oh, okay.
There you go.
All right, Josh, load it up.
Bad Boy Gasparilla Bowl. I've got Marshall to take down the, 9-time defending national champions or whatever they say they are.
Let me get this pulled back up. I'm gonna go with UCF. What you wanna do?
All right.
Blake?
Oh, you picked?
Yeah.
Oh, right. Which one is this? Yeah. The fact that UCF was in the Fiesta Bowl last year and now they're in this one, that's awful. I'm going to go with UCF in this one. The SoFi Hawaii Bowl. Gee, to no surprise, Hawaii is in this game. Oh, really? This is very relaxing. I love it, Brady.
No, this is me.
Are you
This
serious?
is you? Oh,
Wait, Josh,
what a plot
Josh,
twist.
pause yours.
Hello?
Mine's playing too.
Ah.
Did you
Hi,
literally
from
just click on
beautiful-
Hawaii Hula Dance Music by
Yep.
L Travels?
Beautiful.
That's what I was just playing.
From beautiful Hawaii, the SoFi Hawaii Bowl featuring Hawaii and the Brigham Young Storm and
I
Mormons.
gotta get lower so my camera can see me.
The Storm and Mormons and the Rainbow Warriors. I think that Hawaii uses that huge home field advantage and they haka their way to a win.
Did you know the haka, Josh? Do you know it? I feel like that would just be the most randomly, obscurely awesome thing to know.
Yeah, no, I would love
Just
to
like
do
you're
it.
at a party, just start doing the haka out
Did
of
you
nowhere.
guys see? All right, staying away from politics. I also don't know what the reason for the protest was for. Did you guys see the people in Hawaii protesting whatever? And then when the cops told them that they needed to leave, they started doing the haka dance in front of them. That is the most. Can I say badass on
Yeah, you
radio?
can say badass.
That was the most badass thing ever. That was sick. Brady?
Which bowl game are we on?
Oh wait, I didn't. Oh yeah, I said Hawaii.
Which Hawaii?
Yeah.
Let's go with Hawaii. The home field advantage. Hawaii's a tough place to go play. Just a random game.
That's true. I gotta go with my Mormons in this one. Fun fact, I'm on Brett McMurphy's tweet. He just quote tweeted this saying, SEC had an agreement where Tennessee was in the Music City Bowl and Kentucky was in the Gator Bowl.
Which would have been against.
Tennessee then changed its mind this afternoon and made the Gator Bowl the preference. Because why? They had the same record and beat Kentucky head-to-head, so they got the edge, and Brett McMurphy quote tweeted saying it just means more.
So does that mean that Indiana will now play who? Kentucky?
Yeah, so Kentucky's now...
Or Tennessee? Will they now play Tennessee?
Kentucky is now in the Gator Bowl. So we'll get to that when we get to those in a bit. But so that was just tweeted out too long ago. So we got the Walk-Ons Independence Bowl featuring Miami and Louisiana Tech.
Because, sorry, McMurphy said earlier Kentucky, Indiana, and the Gator Bowl. So now is it Indiana, Tennessee?
So yeah, so Kentucky was in the Gator Bowl. Tennessee was in Music City Bowl.
Yes.
Kentucky is now in the Music City Bowl, and Tennessee is now in the Gator
So
Bowl.
it'll be Indiana, Tennessee, and the Gator Bowl.
Correct.
Got it.
The Walk-Ons Independence Bowl, Miami, Louisiana Tech.
Louisiana Tech.
All right.
Miami doesn't have it.
I don't know how that's to do with the Walk-Ons. Well, I guess Independence Bowl. I guess, yeah, that's... I love independence. I love America.
I love America.
I'd like to buy a hamburger.
Hamburger.
The burger! And the Saints are going to lose.
This show
The Colts-
has just gone completely off the rails.
Where's Lyle when you need him?
Yeah,
the Colts
honestly.
lost to the Buccaneers.
Well, the Saints went for 2 and they didn't get it. Now the 49ers are in field goal
I'm
range.
going to go with Miami.
Yeah, I'm going to go with Miami in this one as well. See that, boys?
What's that?
You weren't quick enough because this is the Quick Lane Bowl featuring Pittsburgh and Eastern Michigan.
I was going to play that. Even though it's fast lane.
Well, remember, we want to avoid copyright here, guys.
Life in the quick lane. I'm taking Pittsburgh.
I'm going to go with Pitt also.
Nice.
Yeah, where did our music go?
It's somewhere. Hang on.
I got to hear the tunes, Brady.
Keep going. Go to the next bowl game.
Oh, is this what you
Well, let me make my pick first. I'm going to go with Pittsburgh in this one. The Military Bowl presented by Northrop Grumman, North Carolina versus Temple. I can't believe the Saints are going to lose.
Well, I love that there's no military team playing in this game, but military base in North Carolina. Military base near Philadelphia. Whichever one has the coolest name. There's the Naval Service Warfare Center in Philadelphia. And in North Carolina, there's Pope Army Air... Oh, wait, no, Fort Bragg's in North Carolina. I've got the Tar Heels. Tar Heels, for sure. Fort Bragg? Yeah. How is North Carolina losing this game when Fort Bragg is in North Carolina?
The Fighting Jeffrey Saturdays will prevail and win and be victorious in the battle of the Military Bowl presented by Northrop Grumman.
There you go. I'm going to go with North Carolina. I
Cool.
love it.
Go ahead.
Brady, in our fantasy matchup, our defense, my defense has -4 and yours has -7.
Yeah, not great, Blake.
Not great, Bob. All right, let's get that music back up. I miss our, because this is the last time we're ever going to hear our Pick'ems music on the show ever.
Oh,
is it really?
Sad. It is. Well, we're never going to pick anything ever again.
Oh,
but I'll pick you guys as my brothers for as long as I live. Huh! All right. What did happen? All right, the New Era Pinstripe Bowl, Michigan State and Wake Forest.
This'll be a good one. I don't think. So where is the music?
Yeah.
Yankees lose.
Okay.
Back to the music.
The Pinstripe Bowl, Michigan State getting into a bowl game is huge for Arizona State. I'm going to take Sparty. I think it's going to be close. I think Wake Forest is a good team, but not that good. I think Michigan State, big, serious, Big Ten football, gets the win.
This is one of my favorite bowl games every year because it's such a cool, and I could say iconic, even though it's the new Yankee Stadium, but it's such an iconic place to be playing a bowl game, and it's such a fun atmosphere. It's at Yankee Stadium, a game in the Bronx. Doesn't get better than that. I'm going to go with Sparty in this one. I like Sparty repping the Big Ten here.
Michigan State has been a joke all season. They'll continue. Wake Forest, they peaked. They had a good run, but I'm going to go with the Demon Deeks in this one. The Academy Sports and Outdoors Texas Bowl, Oklahoma State versus Texas A&M.
This will be another good one.
And I think the Saints lose.
Oh, I'm so sorry, Blake.
Bum, bum, bum.
I'm going to pick Texas A&M. I mean, they've got a really tough schedule. There were some games when I was really impressed with them this year. I don't think they're a great team, but I think they are a very well-tested team, and I think they beat Oklahoma State.
Hey, Blake.
Hey, Brady.
That's
it's
for
all
you.
Good. It's all good.
You know, I think A&M saw Jimbo Fisher on game day yesterday. Coach down there at A&M, not being talked about ever since he took that job, which is kind of weird. But Oklahoma State, if Lyle were here, we all know we'd be making fun of him for picking Pistol Pete.
Better believe we would be.
Pistol Pete over a Cyclone?
And I'm going to make fun of him. I don't know what an Aggie is, but it's probably better than a Pistol Pete. What's an Aggie?
An agricultural person.
I thought so.
Not necessarily a farmer, though.
Maybe not. Maybe not. Because what's going to win, a hoe or a gun? Like a plow. A hoe plow.
Okay.
I love hoes.
I know you do, Blake. All right, I'm going to go with Oklahoma State.
All right, you know what? I'm going to go with Texas A&M in this one. I think Texas A&M is low-key a really sneaky good team. The San Diego County Credit Union Holiday Bowl, USC against Iowa.
Dude, Josh, I literally have it pulled up on my computer.
I think that Iowa's a good team. I don't think they have a very good offense, and believe it or not, I think that USC might actually be able to quell their USC's defense would be able to quell their offense in this game. Keaton Slovis, Mike Pittman, the best trio of the best group of 4 receivers in the country. You heard me, Bama. You heard me, Bama. I'm taking USC big over Iowa in the Holiday Bowl. 31-17 final score.
Oh, I thought you were going to keep playing it.
Okay.
Oh, boy. Is everyone just trying to show up one another whose audio quality is better?
I'm going to go with, I like USC. We saw them play earlier this year. Josh, you just said a second ago, their receiving corps is, I'd say, unmatched in the country. And Caden Slovis, a true freshman. Let's see what he can do in a big-time bowl game. Even though it's not a big-time bowl game, it's still a bowl game. Let's see what you can do,
It's a
Keaton.
good bowl, the Holiday Bowl.
And you know what? USC fans better show up for this game.
Yeah, if the USC fans
support your team. Support your team. Are you going to go?
We'll see. Okay. Yeah, we'll see. Maybe we can mob. All right, what happened? Where to go? I think SC wins big. I think they crush them. The Cheez-It Bowl. Air Force and Washington State.
I would love to back the pack in this one, but I think that Air Force just soars into the wild blue yonder and gets the win over Washington State.
Off we go. Off we go.
All right.
Into the sun. Did you guys have to learn all the military songs?
You didn't in marching band, Blake?
No, we
So
didn't.
in elementary school, we had on Veterans Day, we actually had to from first grade through fifth grade, each year had to learn and perform.
I learned the Marine
each year.
Corps one.
Yeah, you had to learn every year
Really?
a different song. So I now have all those songs stuck in my head.
Nice.
Yeah, or ingrained in my memory. I'm never going to pick against a military school, so I'm going Air Force.
I will. I'm going to go with Washington State. I think Anthony Gordon just torches them. I think he lights them up. Now, Brittany, what was it you said the cool thing with Pat McAfee, that he's in the jumbo box of Cheez-Its?
So in the corner of the end zone, there's going to be a 3-story box of Cheez-Its that's actually a suite. And he has the title Master of Cheese, Cheez. Why is it not Master of Cheese, Cheese, you ask? Well, the state of Minnesota actually sued the Cheez-It Bowl for having the title Master of Cheese because in the state of Wisconsin, the state of Wisconsin. In the state of Wisconsin, there's an official government position called the Master of Cheese, and they are the head cheesemaker for the state of Wisconsin, so they sued the Cheez-It Bowl for stealing the name.
If Pat McAfee doesn't show up wearing a cheese top hat,
he's going to wear something
and
ridiculous.
And a walking stick, he'll be doing it wrong.
The pimp of cheese is what he'd be called.
I'm going to skip over the games on December 28th. These are some of the better ones, so we're going to skip to the next day and we'll go back to them. The Serve Pro First Responder Bowl, Western Kentucky and Western Michigan.
Western Kentucky. I like the Hilltoppers. They top Western Michigan.
Ooh, I like that. That's clever.
Battle of the Westerns.
Clever, Josh.
Thank you.
Even though neither of these teams are in the West, they're both in the Midwest.
Oh,
sure.
Great place.
Why not?
I'm going to go with Western Kentucky because their mascot is just a big red blob.
Yep.
I'm going to go with Western Michigan. I have no reason why, but I want to. The Franklin America Mortgage Music City Bowl.
This
Louisville
is Florida now. It's Florida instead of Tennessee.
That's correct. No, that was with Kentucky. Oh, wait, what?
I'm sorry. Yes. The other game is in Florida. It is Kentucky and Louisville, not Tennessee and Louisville. You're correct.
That's right. Okay.
The other game is in Florida, which is why I said that.
So it
is
Kentucky,
Louisville.
So it's Kentucky versus Louisville.
Yes.
All right. Kentucky versus good catch. Kentucky versus Louisville.
Maybe a little bit of a rivalry here. I like it. I'm taking Louisville.
I like this one. It's the border battle. No, what do they call it? The Louisville Kentucky rivalry in basketball is called
something.
I don't remember. Whatever it is, I'm gonna go with. Let's go with Kentucky.
Two teams from Kentucky not playing in Kentucky.
True. They're playing in Music City,
Nashville.
The Franklin America Mortgage.
Yeah, this whole thing is like Kentucky's. I'm checking Twitter, and there's a bunch that's going back and forth. I'm going to go with Kentucky. Worst case scenario, if this is what happens, the points won't matter.
So here is this. It is. Where did I just see that? Boom. Never mind. Move on.
All right, it's fine. Maybe they just won't count the Music City Bowl. The Red Box Bowl, Illinois and Cal. Ugh, yuck.
Yeah.
Red Box Bowl. Legit might be like a 10,000 per. Do they even get 10,000 people at this game?
They should be because it's in Santa Clara and it's on that south side of the bay kind of, and Berkeley's what? That's East Bay, so fans can kind of just drop right down in there, and I just don't think there are going to be a lot of people there. I'll take Cal, close, low scoring, 7 total turnovers between the two teams, but I've got the Bears and I've got the Pac-12.
You know, the reason, think about this. If, say, Wisconsin would have won last night, the one loss that could have kept them out of the playoffs would be to a loss by a Illinois team coached by Lovie Smith. Think about that. But they didn't, so it doesn't matter. So I'm going to... Do I back the Pack or back the Big Ten? Oof.
That's tough.
Oof, magoof. What do I do? I'm going to go with Cal. I think what we saw from them early on in the season was very impressive. They stumbled a little bit in the second half of the year, but I'm going to go with Cal to win this one in the Redbox Bowl. Home field advantage-ish.
So this is going all over the place. So first off, I'm going to go with Cal in this one. As of 28 seconds ago, this verified account with 200,000 followers, Matt Jones for Kai Sports Radio, said Kentucky versus Virginia Tech in the Belk Bowl, which is our next one.
Brett McMurphy said that as well.
So it's officially Kentucky versus Virginia Tech in the Belk Bowl.
Don't steal anything.
All right, so yeah, Belk Bowl.
Oh, no. Wait, so now we have to go back and change that other one, right?
It'll be fine.
Well, who's Louisville playing now?
Here's what we'll do. Tonight, when everything is officially official, I'll just text the chat. We can all make the picks for this game, and I'll just put the graphic over that one. Okay. Because now, trying to go back, and whatever's going on with these like 2 or 3 bowl games, it's too confusing. We'll just go with this, and we'll do the air later.
Okay, so which one are we...
Belk Bowl, Virginia Tech, and Kentucky.
So I liked Virginia in the ACC, but Virginia Tech, again, I had mentioned ever since that Notre Dame game that Lyle was at, I've said I like Georgia Tech? My goodness. Lyle went to the Virginia Tech Notre Dame game, and since that game, I've had a little more respect for Virginia Tech and what they've been doing this year. So I like Virginia Tech in this game. They are not playing Mississippi State.
It's Kentucky.
Just to clarify.
It's Kentucky.
That would change my pick.
This is too confusing.
Yeah.
Okay. Yeah.
I picked Kentucky in our first pick'em thing that we had on accident the first time, but I'm not going to pick them this time. I'm going to go with Virginia Tech, VT, in the Belk Bowl. I think it could give us a strong showing.
You know, I'm going to go with Kentucky in this one. I really like what they've done this year. The Tony the Tiger Sun Bowl.
Great.
Florida State and Arizona State.
You're doing this now, not last?
We'll do this one now, because last we'll do all the the big ones, and the last ones are like college football championship
I love
prediction.
how it's the Tony the Tiger Sun Bowl, not even the Frosted Flakes Sun Bowl. It's Tony the Tiger.
Yeah, just Tony the Tiger. I love that. I think ASU fans are going to flock to El Paso. I really think they're going to follow this team out there. Florida State, I mean, obviously I don't think Norvell's going to be there. I think he's going to do the bowl game from Memphis. I don't know. There's just so much going on with Florida State right now that I can't buy into. I think ASU, again, it's a dumb argument. ASU is without a doubt the best 5-loss team in college football, and it's just not close. I like Arizona State in this game by I'll say 10 points. Man, I have raved about USC's receiving core, but Arizona State's, when Jaden Daniels is slinging the ball around, Arizona State's is not far behind when you've got the likes of Ayuk, who could be a first-round pick. Obviously, Darby's great. Kyle Williams, the short yardage guy. I like Arizona State in this game, not to mention Eno Benjamin. I've got the Devils.
Eno Benjamin, could this be the last game we see him in an Arizona State uniform? I say, yes, it is. But who knows? Anything could happen. I'm going to go with ASU with this one. I think you have to pick them to finish out this year. Had a good, strong showing to end this year, beating Oregon, beating U of A. A close one against USC, but I think the Sun Devils find a way to get this done.
I like it. I like it a lot. I'm going to go with the Sun Devils with the win. The AutoZone Liberty Bowl, Navy, Kansas State.
I like Kansas State. I really thought they should have been in that Alamo Bowl over Texas, like by a lot. I really thought they should have been in. Navy's a good team. I think they get in the zone, AutoZone, and I think they get the win.
Get in the zone, AutoZone.
Hey, remind me to download that sound effect for next semester for our shows.
Yes.
I'm going to go with Navy in this one. I'm going to stick with the military teams, and the season's not done yet. This next week, we should throw this game in the pick'em too. Army, Navy, one of the best games every year. 2, Josh, you probably don't like them, but 2 sick uniform matchups this week.
Oh, yeah. Some good stuff. I'm going to go with Navy.
They're sick.
In the AutoZone
really?
Liberty Bowl.
Armies are sick.
AutoZone.
Awesome.
Arguably the best bowl game there is, and the best location there is. The Nova Home Loans Arizona Bowl, Wyoming, and Georgia State.
And
in Tucson. I'm so sorry for both of these fan bases if anyone decides to go.
Hey, if you're playing in this bowl game, just remember, there's also a bowl game in the Bahamas.
Yeah, that's true. So you could go to Tucson or you could go to the Bahamas. Take your pick.
Same, but different.
Yeah, almost the same. Very close. I've got Georgia State. It'll be an okay game, kind of back and forth, but I'll take Georgia State. Last year, New Mexico State won the Arizona Bowl, and it was a big thing, wasn't it?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. So I'm gonna take Georgia State. Not that has any correlation whatsoever.
I saw. No, that was Charleston. So never mind. Georgia State, former basketball team. You remember what happened with Georgia State a couple years ago in the tournament?
Yeah, the coach fell out of his chair.
Ron Hunter, his son RJ Hunter, hit the game winner and he fell out of his chair. So I'm going to go with Georgia State.
I'm going to go with the Wyoming Cowboys in this one. The Valero Alamo Bowl. The underwhelming bowl. The most underwhelming bowl of the bowl season. Texas and Utah.
So, again, I don't think Texas should be in this game. I think it should be Kansas State, but Texas is going to get a lot of fans there. It should be a good game. I think Utah bounces back. I think that in the Alamo Bowl in San Antonio, the Longhorns try to channel the spirits of Jim Bowie and Davy Crockett. But in the end, it will be Utah who remembers the Alamo and gets the win.
Did you know where they keep the trophy for this game, actually?
In the Alamo?
In the basement. In the basement of the Alamo, next to Pee-wee's bike. My
bike! Where's my bike?
You do that like an accent, but that's legit how you talk 90% of the time.
Yes.
Yes.
Correct.
This is the Alamo Bowl. The Valero Alamo Bowl. You can't forget the sponsors in each of these games. Unlike my team, my fantasy football team, Texas and Sam Ehlinger are not back. But they'll be back enough to win this bowl game. I think they have a chance to beat Utah and send Utah on a skid to end the season.
Yeah, I agree. I think Texas gets the win in this one. I think Utah's just going to be kind of deflated where Texas wants to come out and they have more to show. We're going to skip the New Year's Day bowl games and save those for the end, which brings us to January 2nd. The Ticket Smarter Birmingham Bowl. What is Ticket Smarter?
The what?
The Ticket Smarter Birmingham Bowl, Boston College versus Cincinnati.
Smarter. Ticket Smarter.
I'm guessing it's kind of like Billy's tickets.
Barry's tickets.
Barry's
tickets.
It's berries. How many
All right.
times do we have to emphasize Ticket Smart? Wow, this is actually not a bad looking website, but it's a proud sponsor of Boise State Athletics and the Birmingham Bowl and the Rose Bowl.
Who wins the game, Josh?
How is Ticket Smarter a partner for the Rose Bowl game? Anyway, I think Cincinnati. I mean, a couple tough losses to Memphis. I still think they're a good team. I just think Memphis is a little bit better. BC's up and down. Adazio's gone. I like Cincy.
I like Cincy as well. Watching them play this past week against Memphis, it was a weird game. It was a very, very, very American Conference game, if that means anything. But I think Cincinnati's going to go home with the win in this Ticket Smarter Birmingham Bowl at 3 p.m. on ESPN.
Cincinnati would have won. They would have likely been in New Year's 6. They're not. Unfortunately, they're in the Ticket Smarter Birmingham Bowl. I'm going to go with the Bearcats. The Bearcats, right?
Yes.
Not
Yes.
the Wildcat. I get those mixed up. So I guess the Tax Slayer Gator Bowl is officially
Tennessee.
Indiana versus Tennessee.
Yeah.
There we go.
Classic Kentucky. They don't want Indiana.
Of course not.
Basketball, football, nothing.
They refuse.
Josh.
Man, this is such a tough pick because I feel like naturally the pick for me should be to go with good old Rocky Top Tennessee. But I'm going to go the glory of old IU over the Volunteers.
Go. Yes.
Wow. Much better quality audio than when I played the SC fight.
Yeah, because mine's directly plugged in to the audio jack.
Yeah.
That happens.
And because this is just a better fight song.
Hey, I will fight you afterwards.
Yeah, you're
Fight
probably
words.
right. So, I think Indiana just comes out swinging. They're a fast football team.
They're coming.
Steve V. Scott, Peyton Ramsey, Britt Beery. You don't play, but hey, you're on the team, and I know you, buddy. So I'm going to go with Josh says, the glory of old IU. Indiana, we're all for you.
I like it. I'm going to go with the Hoosiers as well, baby. The famous Idaho Potato Bowl, Nevada and Ohio.
You know, I might just have to make some mashed potatoes tonight. Probably won't.
Are you making them for everybody?
No.
Did you bring it up for the whole class?
It's just I have to do it every year, They could be 0-12 and go to a bowl game somehow, and I would pick them. I'm going with my Ohio Bobcats, the Ohio University.
How great would it be if Ohio applied for a trademark for the Ohio University and got it?
That'd be fantastic.
When the Ohio State University didn't. But you know who's got it is the Ohio University. I'm going to go with the Bobcats. Because why Josh and Blake?
Because
I don't know.
Ohio.
O-H.
Oh.
Okay.
Jesus. It's all going downhill. I'm going to go with Nevada in this one. The Lockheed Martin Armed Forces Bowl. This one is officially Southern Miss versus Tulane.
Isn't there a rule that in one of these like military named bowl games that there has to be a military team in it?
No. So what they've done is I'm almost positive in those bowl games, it's if there isn't a team that qualified from a certain conference, like not enough teams qualified, they just pull somebody else in. I think that's one of those games.
Makes sense. So who is it? It's Tulane and
Southern Miss.
Tulane and Southern Miss. You know what? I'm gonna have to go with the lad baseball Brit. I'm taking the lads in Tulane.
What?
Baseball
Who
Brit.
knows? Who knows?
He's a Tulane fan.
All right.
Ever heard of Baseball Brit?
Yeah, I have.
He's a Tulane fan.
Really?
He did a random 130-team randomizer, and he landed on Tulane.
Tulane. Interesting. So, back to our previous conversation we had moments ago making fun of Lyle. The one thing that will never lose is a green wave, or a blue wave, or a wave in general. I'm going with Tulane, the green wave.
Not only
Make
is it
a big
wave,
splash in this
it's
game.
a fighting wave. So I'm going to go with Tulane.
Are they the fighting green waves?
Well, no, but the logo is a fighting wave. I'm going to go with Tulane, the Mobile, Alabama Bowl. Miami of Ohio versus Louisiana Lafayette. Is
Yes,
that
sir.
Yes.
ULL?
ULL
Yes.
is Louisiana.
Louisiana.
Ragin' Cajuns, because they used to have that head coach that would headbutt his players on the sidelines while they were wearing helmets. No concern for concussion protocol for himself. And he would just
CTE
straight
City.
up be bleeding on the sideline from his head coaching the game. And second time I'll say it on the show, that's badass. And I'm taking the Ragin' Cajuns.
You know, when I think of food, I think of, all right, which city has better food? Miami, Ohio. What are they famous for, Josh? Nothing. Ohio. That's like they're trying to be famous for Skyline Chili, but they're not because that's Cincinnati. Miami of Ohio. Listen, I got some friends that play on Miami of Ohio. One's a freshman starting offensive lineman who is a big kid. Like, he makes Josh look small.
Oh, yeah.
Oh,
Granted, Blake makes Josh look small.
that's also true. I'm huge.
I'm huge. So I'm going to go with Miami of Ohio. They just won the MAC championship up at Ford Field. I'm going to go with Miami of Ohio.
Yeah, Miami, they just won the MAC as well. They're riding this hot. I'm going to go with them as well. Now we go back about a week or two to some of the better bowl games. First off, we got the Camping World Bowl, Notre Dame versus Iowa State.
This is a very strange matchup. It's very strange, but I think Notre Dame gets it done. Interested to see what the turnout for this game is going to be, because I feel like it's a good matchup for Iowa State, and I think that the Cyclones fans, because they have the most dangerous mascot in college football, or at least in the Big 12, I think that it's a big game for them, so they would go, right? But also, Notre Dame probably wants to be in a bigger bowl, but they have fans everywhere. Either way, I'm going to take Notre Dame.
This game being played in Orlando.
Orlando.
The properly named Camping World Stadium.
Orlando, SeaWorld, and Disney, and putt-putt golfing.
I actually hate my life.
Oh.
I'm going Notre Dame. I don't think Iowa State will put up a great test. And this is going to be a tough one, especially like Josh, you said. Notre Dame is everywhere. They travel everywhere.
That's intimidating.
They're everywhere. I think Notre Dame just has the ability to play a game anywhere in the country and have a very, very, very large fan base. I'm going with the Irish.
I'm going to go with the Irish as well. The Goodyear Cotton Bowl Classic, Penn State and Memphis.
So close, but I'm taking Penn State. I would love it if Memphis came out there. Brady White, watched him in high school, watched him at ASU. I'll no disrespect to Penn State. No real bias in here other than Brady White, but I'm going to be rooting for Brady White. I think Penn State gets the win. I think they are the better team. This is a team that nearly competed for a playoff position in the final few weeks of the year. I think Penn State's legit, and I think they get the win.
I'd love to see Brady White do well. He did really well in the...
What?
He did really well in the championship, but I'm going to go with Penn State.
You know what? I want to root for Memphis, so I'm going to pick Memphis. That way I can get the point if they win. But this is going to be a fun one. It's going to be exciting to see. I'm excited to see what uniforms Memphis brings out, because they always have some really good uniforms. We're going to skip over those because we're going to have those saved for last. The Capital One Orange Bowl, Florida and Virginia.
This is another kind of strange one. Virginia, another former ASU quarterback, Bryce Perkins, he looked pretty good this year. The offense at times looked good against Clemson despite getting smacked 62-17. And you know what? I think that Florida's secondary is good, and I don't think that Bryce Perkins is going to be able to have continued success against them.
Which game are we on? I'm sorry.
Florida, Virginia, which is
the Orange Bowl.
Orange Bowl.
It's close. I think Florida fans turn out for it. I think it's close for a while. Gators pull away at the end.
I think Florida is going to win this game, but before we do that, joining us on the phone right now is the man who usually sits in that chair from San Diego, Lyle Goldstein.
Lyle. How we doing, fellas? Well,
hey,
like 2 hours of sleep, but you know what? I thought I'd make some time for the good old Harris highlight show.
All right.
Well, this is fantastic. Now, I don't even know what we're expecting out of Lyle, so Lyle, the floor is yours.
Well, let's see. I heard we were on Florida, Virginia. I'm going to pick Florida to win that game. I think they've got a good defense. I think they're the better team. On another note, Justin Fields is 13-0 with a touchdown-to-interception ratio of 37-1, but that was just, wanted to throw that out there just for anybody who needed it.
Hey, shut up, Lyle.
Yeah, Florida. I got Florida.
All right, Lyle, why don't we let you pick
Well, he can stay on for... Lyle, do you have 10 minutes?
It's probably going to be like closer to 5 or 7, but...
Because we're doing all the New Year's Six Bowls right now.
Okay.
And then let him pick the Camping World and the Tony the Tiger.
We'll go through these a little quicker, but Lyle's made his pick. Brady, what's yours?
For which game?
Florida, Virginia.
I picked Florida. Lyle, before we do this, do you want to give us your quick pick for Camping World, which is Notre Dame, and then Sun Bowl, which is ASU?
Camping World Bowl, I'm going to pick Notre Dame. Shocker. Brock Purdy's good. Iowa State's a good team, but I think Ian Book and the Irish can pull that one out. Sun Bowl, ASU. ASU's going to find a way to win. Almost everybody's going to be playing. I think the Devils can pull out a win in El Paso.
This feels weird having Lyle on the phone for this.
He sounds like more of an expert on the phone. Yeah, guys, thanks so much. That's a great question.
I'm going to be going with Florida, and I think Florida's going to win big. The Verbo Citrus Bowl?
Yes.
Verbo, Alabama and Michigan.
This is just of a game. Bama's just better. I mean, I would love to see Michigan come out and play well and give us a good game, but the bottom line is that I would have rather seen Michigan and USC in the Holiday Bowl. I think they're more evenly matched. It's fun, Michigan-Bama, but Crimson Tide are just better, so roll Tide.
Yeah, I think if Clemson...
No, Brady,
it's whoa.
Are we going
you
in
have
order?
seeded your second pick now.
Okay. Lyle, go ahead, bud.
I mean... Part of me thinks Alabama doesn't want to be there, but at the same time, I think they're just the far superior team to Michigan, and I think Mac Jones and the offense, with all those receivers, find a way to pull out a win. I'm going to go Bama by 12.
I think if Bama were to have one loss and it was in the SEC title game, they could have snuck away in the playoffs. But they had two and didn't even play in the SEC title game. But I still think they're the better team. I'm going with Bama.
Yeah, I'm going Bama huge in this one. Outback Bowl, Minnesota and Auburn.
Well, on this article that Blake showed us, they wrote Michigan versus Auburn, which is just not true. It's unless they updated it and I just haven't seen it. Auburn has kind of changed the way that I've viewed them these last few weeks. Obviously, with the Bama win, Bo Nix, I think, will figure out a way to beat Minnesota. Minnesota was so close. They were close. They still didn't sell me. They still didn't sell Lyle. Can't wait for his pick. This is going to be really interesting. But for me, it's Auburn. So now I'll hand it off to Lyle so he can pick between Bo Nix and Minnesota. Lyle?
I was about to say, this is really the anti-Lyle Goldstein Bowl, isn't it? Man, this is so tough. But you know what? I'm going to go with Blake's Minnesota Gophers.
Man, he hates Bo Nix that much. Wow.
I'm going to go with...
you know what? Yeah.
Go ahead, Lyle.
No, I mean, like I said, Minnesota's not an awful team or anything, but they just weren't as good as I think people were making them out to be. But I think they can step up in a bowl game because I think they have a little bit more to prove than Auburn does.
Bo Nix showed out in that final game of the season in the Iron Bowl. I'm going to stick with Auburn. I think they're going to ride high off that one.
Bo Nix is my new favorite quarterback in college football, and I think Bo Nix gets the job done. I can't wait till Bo Nix actually wins a Heisman in a few years.
Me too.
The Rose Bowl, Oregon and Wisconsin.
Granddaddy.
This is a good one. And in Wisconsin, my dad used to work, believe it or not, my dad, season ticket holder for USC, don't tell his former employers at UCLA, used to work UCLA home football games. Oh. He worked in game management, which was kind of an usher, but he thought he was cool. He wore like a headset and talk. People like, oh my gosh, there's a line outside section 22. I gotta go. So he would like do all that crap. Good for him. He was asked several times to work the Rose Bowl games, and he worked every game against Wisconsin. And that guy never saw Wisconsin win. I think they get the win this time. I think this is a great game. This might be my favorite matchup out of all the bowls this year. It would have been USC-Michigan, but we didn't get that. But Oregon-Wisconsin, it's going to be great. I'm taking Scotty. I got the Badgers.
Man, last time these two faced off in a Rose Bowl, it looked like Russell Wilson was going to pull out a last-second win, and then that clock ran out, and he was as furious as I've ever seen him. But hey, now we get a rematch: Jack Cohn versus Justin Herbert, and
almost the same.
I'm gonna go with the Ducks.
I'm gonna go with the Ducks. I'm gonna go with the Ducks also. I think what we saw from them let's not call it last 2 weeks. The last week of the season in the Pac-12 championship, I really saw no weakness in that Oregon team. I think they're gonna go into California really, really strong and take a win in the granddaddy of them all.
I'm writing this out with my national champion, Oregon Ducks. Sko Ducks, but this is probably one of the better matchups there is. The All-State Sugar Bowl, Georgia and Baylor.
Ride or die with Jake Fromm. And Fromm and Georgia win the Sugar Bowl over Baylor.
I think this game's pretty close. I think Georgia and Baylor are similarly matched. I think Georgia's the stronger team as a whole, and their defense is obviously really good. I'm going to take Georgia over Baylor. This will probably be Baylor's, honestly, their toughest test of the season. I guess arguably, but I'm going to say it's their toughest test of the season, especially on the defensive side of the ball.
Big question mark for me, I've mentioned this multiple times throughout the show, is what is Baylor going to do with an injured or without Charlie Brewer at quarterback? That's going to be a big question mark, so I really think that Georgia's going to have their way with Baylor in this game.
Now, Lyle, it's a big game for Georgia, so you know what that means.
No big game, Jake?
You know it. Under 50% completion percentage. He'll throw for 60%, and I think Georgia wins. Which brings us to the college football playoff semifinals. The first one, the PlayStation Fiesta Bowl, literally right down the street from us. Ohio State and Clemson.
This is, oh my goodness, this is such a good game. I've got Clemson in it. I think that Clemson is, we haven't seen how good they can be against a top team in the nation. And I think we get to see it this game. This is the best bowl game outside. This is the best playoff game for sure. Maybe the best outside of the entire bowl season. And I think Clemson just pulls it out.
This is so tough. I'm going to take it a step above Josh. Maybe this is a lukewarm take. I think this is going to be the best game of the entire season. And, man, these two teams, I think, are so evenly matched. I've preached for Clemson all year, saying that people aren't giving them the respect they deserve because their schedule's not that tough, and they had the 1-point win against North Carolina. Man, after what they did against Virginia yesterday, I still think they're the real deal. Trevor Lawrence has never lost a game in his career. I think Clemson wins by 3 over Ohio State in what will be the best college football game all season.
Watching Ohio State play from behind against a pretty strong Wisconsin team in the Big Ten Championship showed to me why I think Ohio State deserves to be, very well could have been, the number 1 team in the country, having 3 top 10 wins the last 3 weeks of the year. Dominant rushing game, dominant passing game, dominant defensive front. I'm going Ohio State with this one because 3 of the 6 winners on the College Football National Championship have all been the 2 seed, and I think the 4th is going to be this year's.
Guys, I'll be honest. I think Clemson wins by at least 10.
Really?
I think they blow Ohio State out. They've been playing arguably the best or second best football lately. Justin Fields is kind of banged up. Ohio State, they didn't look good in that first half. And I think, like I was telling this earlier, what Lyle and I have been saying, I think Clemson's been pulling the Golden State Warriors, and I think they've just been halving it the whole season. And I think now they're going to come out full force. So I got Clemson, which does bring us to our actually, no. Sorry, I'm getting ahead of myself. The Chick-fil-A Peach Bowl, LSU and Oklahoma.
Here's another one that I think LSU is the better team in this game. I think they pull out the win in the end. So I'm taking LSU. But I'll take it a step further, and I want to say that I think this is a game where people get scared for LSU early. I would not be surprised to see Jalen throw for one and run for another quick touchdown, maybe take a 10-point lead, maybe a 14-point lead. I think that people are going to panic a little too early in this game for LSU. But Joe Burrow, the Heisman to be... the team's just stacked. They're just so good. I cannot possibly pick against LSU in this game. I think they fall behind early, make a comeback, get the win.
I said it over the last week that if LSU played Utah, they'd win about 31-3, and if they played Oklahoma, they'd win about 54-32. I think it's going to be the latter because they're playing Oklahoma. I think there's going to be a lot of points scored. I don't really think it's all that close. LSU is so good. Obviously, they're the number one team in the country for a reason. They dominated Georgia. I think they're going to dominate Oklahoma.
You know, Lyle just said it perfectly. They're the best team in the country for a reason. And for the last time in the Pick'ems, I get to play this soundbite, and I'm so happy for it.
Hey, guys, thank you. We love you, man. Go Tigers.
So Tigers coming to win this game. LSU, I think they're going to easily win this one to face off a 1-2 matchup in the national championship.
Yeah, this one, I hope it's close, but I think it's not. I don't think it's going to be. I'm going to go with the Tigers in this one, which does bring us to our national championship prediction since we won't be back by the time the national championship happens. So, Josh, who do you have in your national championship, and who do you have winning?
My national championship game is Tigers versus Tigers. I've got Clemson, and I've got LSU. And, Brady, why don't you play that soundbite for me?
Hey, guys, thank you. We love you, man. Go Tigers.
I've got LSU. I've got Joe Burrow. Go Tigers with an EAUX. I've had him as my number one team all year, and I've got him winning the national championship. So go Coach Joe.
Well, Brady, I'm not going to have you play it on air for copyright reasons. I also know Drake doesn't keep his well, that too. I know Drake doesn't keep his music on YouTube, but Clemson's going back-to-back. Again, they shine when the moment is at its highest, and I think they turn on the full throttle in these final two games. I think they beat LSU in a really close contest. I've got the Clemson Tigers going back-to-back as national champs.
You know, I said this a second ago. I said Ohio State, we're going to see the number 2 seed win again. But they're just going to be in the national championship again. I said a second ago also, that was one of the last times I'm going to play the soundbite for Pick'ems. But I'm not. I'm doing it one more time. I got
hey guys, thank you. We love you, man.
LSU winning the national championship. Overtime again this year like we saw the last couple seasons. So I'm going to go with overtime for LSU against Ohio State. But it's going to be a close one. It's going to be one for the ages.
I think LSU is the best team in college football, but Lyle said it. Clemson's been here before. I think arguably they're probably the best team. I know I've been kind of anti-Clemson the whole year just because of what we've seen them do in the ACC, but I think Clemson gets the job done. I think they go back-to-back, and I got the Tigers winning the national championship. So, Lyle, thank you so much for calling in. We really appreciate it. Enjoy San Diego, and go get a job.
Will do. Anytime, boys. Happy to call in.
You say anytime like you're not a part of this show normally.
Find Heyman so that way he can tweet Colt to NY and you can capture it on film.
Will do.
Hey, go find Weederhat for me, too.
Bye, Lyle.
All right, bye, Lyle.
I already talked to him.
Say hello to our Cape League friends for me.
He just hung up on us.
Oh. And what's going on with the audio?
I don't know.
Bye,
Brady.
Lyle.
Brady?
He hung up, and so it was just kicking back.
It's all good. So that does wrap up our official last Pick'ems ever, boys. That was fun.
Round of applause for everybody.
It takes a while when you have to pick like 40 games,
yeah.
but we didn't. So yeah, plenty of stuff to go on.
It's only a 2-hour show.
Only a 2-hour show. So if you've tuned in for this long, thank you so much. If you've watched this long on the YouTube, thank you so much. Make sure to follow the show on Twitter at Brady the Other Music. We're done. We're wrapping it up.
What are you still doing here? Go home.
You're done. All right, so make sure to follow us on Twitter at the EHH Show _. Lots of fun stuff coming this holiday break, and that way you can keep up to date with us as well when our next show comes back in the spring. We're not done, guys. A lot of people think this is our last show ever. We are going to be back in the spring.
We're back, baby.
Lots of fun shows coming in the spring. Make sure to go to the description, join our Bowl Pick'ems League. There's the Straight League, there's the Confidence League, and Brady has something he'd like to say.
What about follow us along on Twitter so we can maybe post a bunch of updates and videos of ourselves reacting to stuff in games over break? Why not?
Yes, as well. Follow our personal Twitters. I'll put that in the description as well. Lots of fun stuff. Again, join the Bowl Leagues. That'll be a lot of fun. Keep up to date with that. Give this video a thumbs up. Leave a comment as to what bowl game you're looking the most forward to. And yeah, a whole bunch of stuff. Have a great holiday break. Enjoy all the college football games. I hope Santa put something great in your stocking. Brady, I hope you're able to light the candles and enjoy your Hanukkah.
Thank you, Blake.
Yes.
As to you, Lyle.
As to you, Lyle.
Josh, happy Kwanzaa.
Josh Schaefer, Lyle Goldstein, who's currently in San Diego, Brady Klein, our 2 interns over there in studio. Interns, get on camera. We want you to be at the end of this this giveaway, or giveaway, the end of this show. Those are our 2 interns there, and as I can't stress this enough, they are not paid. They are not paid. Not paid at all. Paid in experience. This has been Blake Harris from the Bill Austin Radio Studio. Oh my goodness, guys! Next time I do this show, I'm going to be a college graduate.
And you're also not going to be hosting the show.
And I won't. Well, not the first show back, but another show back. Josh will be hosting.
Awards
the Bill Austin Radio Studio. The awards show is coming up. Also, yeah, make sure you want to catch that. Yeah, thank you guys so much for watching, and we will see you guys in 2020.
We're not leaving. We're not effing leaving.
Not leaving.